What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state. I think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely. You know, I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Well, 20,000 good people submitted comments to the FDA. Mostly good, that's for sure. And Mexico basically decriminalizes cannabis for personal use, while their legislature talks about legalizing it officially for commercial. China thinks legal cannabis isn't good in those Western nations, along with South Korea. And Australia is starting its first trials for medical cannabis use with brain cancer. All that and more from the good people at Reefer Revolution at DC 420 LA.
Maybe we have the power to change things. We can organize, persuade lawmakers to... Oh, sweet! Rugrats song.
What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? I'm Dave Conan. This is indeed Reefer Revolution Live, the show where we spark up, like in New York, talk about marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot, and all things cannabis. And of course, when I say we, I mean my partner in life and cannabis and everything, Coach Chela.
Hi.
I move your camera, so let me center you. There you go.
I moved my chair. That might have been the thing.
Oh, that's okay. We adjust. Hi, Chela.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Let's let us know if you guys can hear us. Welcome, everybody. The chat is filling up already. Love to see it. Love to see all the folks jumping in.
Yeah, so nice.
Fat
so
old
nice.
son in there. Real Jingy. Sicily. Holy cannabis oil.
Happy guy.
Happy
Fat
guy.
old son. That's
Yeah.
new. Hi, fat old son.
Ernest of Gaia in there. What's up? Happy guy. Beautiful day in Oklahoma. Cheers. We've got Oklahoma news in the roll-up. Welcome, everybody, to Reefer Revolution Live on DC 420 LA here on YouTube and multiple other platforms. Couple of OBS crashes. I think it's Spectrum, quite frankly, throttling my use. But we're going to try to get through it, folks. It's been a big week. That, of course, was an older Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah.
From back in 2014. But we thought it was apropos due to the political environment we have again.
Yes, voting is upon us.
The vote is upon us. Cannabis 2018.
Yes, sir.
One of the questions was, how do you get people to the polls? Was asked of Michael Moore this week on late night television, where he voted for Prop 1 in Michigan. On live TV.
On live TV.
Said, how do we get people to the polls? Well, he didn't say it, but this cannabis will get your millennials to the polls. And that's ones they're all worried about. So, and I think it's going to get a few Republicans to the polls, too. So you better vote. Get out there, cannabis warriors. Get out there and vote. Everybody, Reefer Revolutionaries, and vote for cannabis. Even if you do whatever else you vote for. Figure out, because cannabis is on your ballot, and we've got a lot of stories this week in the roll-up on where it is in some of the states. Of course, it's in Michigan, it's in Utah, North Dakota, where else?
Questions in Wisconsin.
We've got, of course,
indirectly in California.
We have a banking bill here in California.
And Kevin De Leon. So, whether or not it's stated as cannabis on the ballot, cannabis is on your ballot, for sure.
Right. That's right.
All the candidates either are for or against cannabis, and that's what you got to figure out. Because anybody who's progressive and understands the nuances of the cannabis debate understands progressive issues. And I know that our audience are predominantly progressive.
Predominantly. RBU 83145, I'm down under.
Yes.
What's up? Welcome, everybody. Cheers. Looney Productions jumping in.
Aloha.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining. Subscribe, get notifications. We do this every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific live on YouTube, as long as the network holds up, as well as Facebook, Periscope, Twitch. D-Live, and on Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network. So wherever you're joining us from, thanks. If you're on one of those other platforms, you can drop in Twitch and in Periscope and in Facebook. You can drop a chat in the comment. It should come up along the bottom. We will try to shout those out when they come in. Tell us how you heard about the show. I know we're going.
That'd be great.
We're going through some name changes, and we have some debate going on in the YouTube comments about our name, and some folks like DC 420 LA. We're trying to hook more folks into the conversation and grab some more audience for the channel. What we are. And let people know what we are doing. We are, believe me, there is still a revolution going on in this legal cannabis environment.
Very much.
Massachusetts may be getting legal weed this week. Cannabis has legal weed. Canada has legal weed. The end of prohibition. Not really. Not really. More illegal now that it's legal. We want decriminalization. We want descheduling. We want tomatoes.
Tomatoes. That's exactly what we want.
We don't want harsher laws in Canada for immigrants if they get caught driving under the influence of cannabis. We don't want worse laws for people who aren't following the rules.
The laws,
and there are still plenty of the laws and the regulations and the taxation is so ridiculous in all of these laws that I don't see local markets going anywhere.
We still have work to do to incorporate all those who have brought cannabis as far as it's gotten. We need to include all the pioneers and those of us who came before the laws into the new system.
Indeed.
Because without them, this would not be a thing. So we're gonna talk about some stories today that touch on those things. So yeah.
So before we get into, we want to talk about our week?
Yeah,
right?
You guys, we were
before
social
we get
butterflies.
Into the news.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
we were social butterflies.
Chela shot the rocket of wanting more cannabis friends.
I did. I really wanted more social cannabis friends.
Locally, we know we have all of you great cannabis friends in the chat.
But we had friends mostly that were drinkers who also used cannabis. I wanted more friends that were cannabis users who maybe occasionally drank. So I was hoping for that, and oh my goodness, it's just like happening. We went out on Halloween to a local neighborhood Halloween party where we were told, we're kind of new to the neighborhood. We were told that, it's kids and it's a parade of kids all night. So we didn't bring any joints because kids.
Well, wait, but first here's my pumpkin.
Oh yeah. Dave made a pumpkin.
Well,
Dave loves to do pumpkins.
That was my vampire. Sorry, that was my vampire. I'm a vampire aficionado.
Dave loves to do vampire.
But there's my cannabis leaf pumpkin.
So cute.
Turned out pretty good.
Cute. You did such a great job, babe.
I think that turned out pretty good.
It did. It turned out great. So we went to this local Halloween party.
There we were.
Kids. Kids love Hello Kitty. So we went to the Halloween party.
Jackpot, the frog prince.
We brought Jackpot, the frog prince. He's so cute. Such a cute boy. But anyway, so we went and we were chatting, we were hanging out, and all the kids. And while Dave was out on the porch, was hanging out with some other people, I walked right into the living room, and boom, joints flowing. I'm like, oh my goodness! We
always sort of misjudge those calls a little bit. There are more smokers out there than we give credit for,
as we saw in that 4-year-old sketch from Saturday Night Live. But anyway, so at this Halloween party, we met the one and only, the original Mel Frank. Mel Frank 420, the cannabis photographer, author, aficionado, activist. Y'all might know him. And if you don't know him, here he is.
I didn't know him. I know him now.
You know him as a neighbor.
He's a neighbor.
He's a neighbor first.
He does amazing First of all, I'm a big fan of the cannabis photography. And I think I'm going to replace my Gore Vidal poster with a good poster, maybe a Mel Frank shot.
Oh my God, that'd be
awesome. But he does some amazing close-up photography on his.
And he has historical
Instagram.
photography from before when we were criminals.
Back in the day.
I
don't know why
really, really beautiful stuff. So if you guys don't know Mel Frank, melfrank420. Go ahead and check him out and follow him on Instagram. He has a load of followers. It's not like he needs more followers.
I'm sure there's more people in our chat right now that know who he is compared to who we know who he is.
I'm pretty sure that most of the growers know Mel Frank.
And there he is back in the day.
It's pretty cool.
Somebody back in the day. This was a gallery presentation he did recently. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Cool. That was fun.
But then we moved on to Friday when we went to the...
What did we do Friday? It all blends together.
Friday night, we went to go see...
Oh, yes.
Weed the People.
That's right. We said that. We said we were going to go see the screening.
We said we were going to go see it, and we followed through.
See there? Stoners follow through, just like they follow through on the FDA.
Abby Martin and Ricky Lake made a film. Excuse me. And actually, we have a little story on it. Why don't we show the story, and then we can come back and talk about it?
We can do that. We can play the... there was a CBS story this week, and we just played part of it, just the opening, which shows the clip. And then we can come back and talk about our review of the movie. And it is quite good.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it when we come back. Let's check out just a little bit from what CBS picked up on this week about this very timely film. Perfect timing.
That they started 6 years ago.
They started this 6 years ago. So let's just take out a little bit of this.
Medical marijuana is now legal in 30 states and Washington, D.C. But on the federal level, the government still classifies cannabis as a Schedule I drug, highly addictive with no medicinal uses. That's the same classification as heroin. And that creates obstacles for researchers studying the health benefits of a compound found in marijuana. The new documentary, Weed the People, follows the journey of families fighting to gain access to cannabis treatments for their terminally ill children. Here's a preview.
They found over 20 tumors in his chest.
They said your daughter will not live to see her second birthday.
When your kid's got cancer, the rule book goes out the window, really. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't explore everything that there was.
When we found out about Sophie's brain tumor, I had no idea this would be the gift from God to her.
Would you let a first or second grader or any child use medical marijuana?
It's the same as every other drug. There are chemical compounds in the plant that interact with the cells in our bodies and have certain reactions.
The different ways that cannabis and cannabinoids seem to suppress cancer is quite impressive.
It's life and death. As a mom myself, I would do it in a heartbeat knowing what I know.
The federal government is telling us there's not enough research on cannabis to deschedule it from Schedule I, and then they're saying you can't do research because it's Schedule I.
In 1937, the American Medical Association told Congress you should not ban this substance because there's things that we are already using this for that we don't have substitutes for.
He'd had to have Dilaudid to manage the pain, and that had created an opiate dependency, so they put him onto methadone.
Because it originates from our pharmaceutical industry, it's accepted by society.
I started reading about the anti-tumor properties of cannabis oil. It's all about supporting the side effects and helping the chemo to do its job.
One of the main reasons I want it legal is so that we can start having standards and not have it be the Wild West.
We're in uncharted waters. We're lab rats. There's enough research for me to know, one, it happens to be a very safe medication, and two, it works.
Oh my God, that's where the cyst used to be. It's working.
I just find it staggering to accept that with the billions of dollars that are spent on cancer research, that the medicine that we were relying on is made in somebody's kitchen.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
The whole drug policy reform issue is a human rights issue at its core.
Why, as a society, are we denying people the use of something that I have seen over and over and over again be helpful?
What kind of medicine are we giving her?
The good kind. Well, earlier this week, I spoke with the film's executive producer, Ricky Lake, and director Abby Epstein. Here's our conversation. Ricky, how did you get involved in this topic in this documentary?
It was my husband, who's since passed away, Christian Evans. He struggled with a lot of issues, both physical, chronic pain, and some other stuff, like ADD and anxiety and stuff. So he was searching the web about cannabis and CBD way before Sanjay Gupta was talking about it on CNN. And at the same time that he was finding stuff about this plant that could help him, a little girl came into my life, a little girl through Dancing with the Stars and through social media. She was a fan of mine, and I moved her and her family into my home for 6 weeks and went on this journey to try to find integrative care for her disease. And I called Abby, and I said, you're not going to believe this. I have this little girl, this stranger, I've moved her in. We're going on a private jet up to Mendocino to meet a cannabis doctor. And she's like, wait, I think this is our next movie. Wow. And that's really how it started. And it's 6 years later, and following these children with cancer for 5.5 years, it's remarkable what we were able to discover about this plant.
But Abby,
the CBS dutiful anchor immediately gets into some reefer madness questions, so we don't need to go there.
No.
But they were Abby Epstein, not Abby Martin.
Yeah.
Film producer.
And director.
Multiple films. Ricky Lake, executive producer. They were at the screening that we got to go to on the second day after the first night, the premiere. We went on Saturday.
Yeah. No, Friday.
Sorry. Was it Friday?
Yeah, we went Friday.
Oh, Friday. Oh, that's right.
We went Friday night.
The
filmmakers were there. Chico's mom was there.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Chico was the son of the British lady.
Yes, she is rad. She's a revolutionary. Mara, I want to meet Mara, Aunt Zelda, the lady who does Aunt Zelda's oils.
What's up, Daily Dope? Welcome, everybody. Yeah,
I really want to meet her in Northern California.
This film, everybody needs to see this film. You can go to the website and get
you can do a screening.
You can do a screening, yeah. You can go and request a screening for your
community, for your neighbors, for your family, for you. You can get one. You're trying to pull it up, aren't you?
I am trying to pull up their
trying to pull up the website. It's coming, guys. It's coming. The website for Weed the People is coming to show you how.
Oh, there it is. Is that it?
That's it. How to have a screening in your neighborhood.
If you can
have some friends over.
If you go to weedthepeoplemovie.com, you can request and get it into your neighborhood. But definitely go see it. If it's not in your neighborhood, get it in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Request it. Get a hold of them, and see this movie, because it follows 5 families. I think is it 4 or 5?
A number of families.
A number of young pediatric cancer patients, and the amazing journey that these kids had. Not all successful either, which is, it's a very honest and informative film. It covers a lot of the politics of the plant over the years. One of the most important quotes is, it's been used as medicine for thousands of years and only been illegal for 70. So the doctor said, it's a medicine. I'd say it's a medicine.
Yeah.
So
it's really good.
It is really
highly
good.
Recommend. You guys should all see it. Certainly buy it. It's not very expensive. Buy it on your Netflix. If you don't want to see it, don't see it. But
is it on
support
Netflix?
it.
Is that where it is?
However you
do
stream it. There's some way that you do it at home. There's ways.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
But it's
fantastic.
It is getting amazing.
See the film.
It's getting amazing reviews. See the film. It's doing what we basically try to do on this show, and that is mainstreaming cannabis medicine. And with the story of these kids, you will be crying for many reasons.
Yeah, it's a very emotional film.
It's a very emotional film. Really glad we went to see it. Really glad we met the filmmakers. And they are going to, they're trying to, get it up for consideration, for Academy consideration. And they are going to try to do a release. So that more people see it. So that more people see it. And it gets the, because it's showing up in a couple of stories, nationally, with the, luckily with Ricky's name recognition behind it. So it's getting some play, but not a whole lot. So talk about it, tell people about it. Get people to, go see it. Highly recommend it. And so that was great. That was our Friday.
That was Friday.
And
that was awesome. And
the Rockets, Chela. What's next?
And then on Saturday, oh my gosh, Saturday was a big day also. before we went to this party that somehow we got invited to. I don't know how, but somehow we were invited to this private event called, what was it called? Laugh Hard in the Backyard?
It was called...
What was it called?
Laugh Hard in the Backyard presents the Smoke Out Comedy Show.
The Smoke Out Comedy Show. It was really good. It was fun.
You know...
Really chill vibe.
Oh, no, the party, this is exactly the kind of events we need.
Yes. More events like this, please.
And we need revolutionaries like the folks that Robert Zapata. Robert Zapata, comedian. It was fair. They were all comedians. They did great sets. It was a lot of fun. And there were lots of party favors.
It was great.
Lots of party favors.
You know, probably 75 people.
Oh, easily.
About 100?
Easily.
About
I'd say
100
people. I'd say 100 people. It looks like they were videotaping and taking lots of pictures. So I'm sure the video will be up somewhere at some point. Robert will probably put it up. But who was there? It was Robert Zapata, of course. It was his backyard, actually. It was his house. So this was a private party.
Yeah.
In his backyard.
Yeah.
Where people were consuming their cannabis.
Yeah.
And
listening to funny comedians.
And listening to great comedians.
Yeah.
About any number of a whole plethora of subjects.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, it was great. I had an amazing.
It was great. I can't wait for more.
And there was alcohol there. It was late.
Eventually,
somebody showed up with the coolers. But it was cool. It was kind of cool at first. It was just a cannabis only event. Everybody was smoking, and what was really cool about it was that there were the age group of people there were older than us.
Yeah.
You know, to just over 20 to 21, down to 21.
Yes.
And
all ages.
All races.
All adult ages.
All adult ages, all races. And you know, looked to be like economic standards.
Yeah. It was a very diverse event.
That's the word I was looking for.
It was super great.
Because we have been smoking some of the party favors that we ended up with. There were some lovely
party favors.
You got a couple of grams handed to Robert from his stuff. He gave it for free, and
party favors.
Some
fun.
Picked up some other stuff. We ended up with some hash and some.
Yeah, we got a
there
nice
it is. You got it right there.
And some rolling papers and all kinds of good stuff. It was really. Oh, this was fun.
What do you call it?
This was Dave's first experience with one of these glass.
That was cool.
The glass doodad that holds the. It was great.
What do they call it? That was from Royal Blunts.
A glass crutch. It won't fit when you have a crutch of your own.
Royal Blunts has a very good marketing.
Really
department.
cute. Really cute. So, really fun. Events are awesome.
Royal Blunts.
Events are awesome. Hey, speaking of events.
Wait, I wanted to show
a
couple of more pictures from this.
Okay, from the event.
There
we are at the
event.
There we are
with the Royal Blunts girls.
Yes.
Where we picked up our VIP passes and our
very clever swag.
Flavored non-tobacco blunt wrappers, which not a huge fan of.
I like the flavor of cannabis.
Yeah.
I like to find all the terpenes and all the goodness that happens when I taste cannabis.
Yeah, so they have.
So I'm not somebody who's ever going to use a flavored wrapper.
Roll-ups. This is an herbal wraps, mango tango. You know, and it's this is definitely, I'm going to say, for the younger crowd.
Why would you say that?
I'm not saying because these kind of flavor. I don't know. I'm never, I don't like sweet flavors. I never really liked sweet flavored drinks anyway. So it was like sweet flavored weed. I like the terpenes. I like that. I don't need more juicy. I get plenty of lemon.
Do you guys like flavored wraps?
I don't know. Yeah,
I would think not.
What's your blunt wrap, Professor? And plus that either, if actually, and you were saying if it was actually a tobacco blunt, you might have even tried that. But they had the papers were nice. They gave us some nice papers, and we got a roller, and we got a tray, and sort of. Oh, sorry. But we had Royal Blunt Girls. There we are, waiting for the show.
All right, so we got some...
so that was fun.
Some people like blunts, some people don't like blunts. But anyway, that's all good. I really, really love cannabis events, and I hope that there are more and more and more and more of them.
Well, we got some really amazing bud, actually.
We did. There was some really lovely cannabis flowing.
This is some Bruce Lee OG.
Yeah, I'm excited to try the Bruce Lee later, not now.
Kosher Jack. Reconnection successful. Sorry, guys. Frickin' Spectrum. I'm sure it's got to be Spectrum.
You think?
Nothing's changed. I haven't really messed with my settings that much. I updated shit. I think it's Spectrum and YouTube has been having problems. People have been having problems with YouTube. And there it goes down again. Stand by, everybody.
In and out. Brando's going to be in and out.
All right. Well, we will press on.
Mr.
As the network, Spectrum Network, is conveniently cutting our sections for us, editing our 5-minute segments. Apparently, they're letting us stream full speed in 5-minute increments or something.
Hey, thanks for subscribing, Looney Productions.
Thanks for subscribing, guys.
Awesome.
I hope to work out these network issues because
we're working on it.
We've been having them.
We're working on it.
We're
going to change subscribers, I think.
Might be There is no changing subscribers.
We can't get AT&T?
No. Oh, AT&T's worse.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
they even reset my modem.
I keep trying to direct us to California. I keep trying to move us on to the next.
Well, are we really moving on to California? I thought we were moving on to the national news.
Sure, that's fine.
We're going to move into, we talked about We the People. We talked about
about our event, and that's why I was moving on to California. But that's okay.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that because we do have another. We are, as we say, what do you call us? Efficient. What do we? Social butterflies. Butterflies.
Sativa social butterflies.
Not the blood-sucking insect that loves the weed plant. We are the social loving butterflies that love weed and now we are going to more awesome weed events. And there's going to be more of those, hopefully, of that private party in this landscape. And we do get into the California block, it's going to be dedicated to one of those awesome future cannabis projects panels that was just talking about events and the new legal landscape here in California.
Can you hear us?
It's reconnected again.
Oh.
So it just keeps, you hear that every time that goes, when you hear that little thing?
Yeah, diddling.
That's either reconnecting or connecting.
Right, I'm just not sure which one we are on.
So now we are in connecting. So now take a bong hit.
All right, every time we're buffering, everybody gets a dab or a bong
take a hit.
Or a rip.
We'll be right up to speed by the time we get through the 5-hour show.
Okay, no. Cancel. Okay, we're back, right?
We're back.
Okay, on to the next. National news.
All right, let's see if I can get through this.
Go on now.
I'm trying something new. It's all this new stuff we're trying. We got to get into a real studio. But let's see. I'm going to try this. If anybody's
got a studio in Mount Washington, we'd be happy to be there.
Yeah, we got to get into it with a real network, like a, what do you call it, fiber connection or something.
Maybe Mel Frank has one that we could be in.
Maybe.
I'll ask him.
Possible. But let's go for this. Let's, as you folks know or may not know, you can find a Cannabis Chronicle over at dc420la.com, a little newsletter I put out on Saturdays of all the cannabis news that I find interesting.
Really good newsletter.
I think so.
That's where the Mexico story was.
That's right. That's where we found that story, of course, from Marijuana Moment, one of my major sources of news. Picked up that. And so let's get into this. Let's get into a little segment, what I like to call the headline hash.
All right.
A Cannabis Chronicle in 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Alrighty.
We have 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Let's see if I can do it. And wait, let me get my script ready. This is we're doing it live.
It's all right. Don't worry.
We're doing it live.
Take a breath. Imagine everyone's buffering.
Everyone's buffering. Let's see if I can do this in the green. All right, here we go. And let's start the headlines. No surprise, top headline of the week is coming from Marijuana Moment. where, of course, I just lost my headline. Marijuana moment, where Mexico's ruling party plans to legalization of marijuana sales just days after Mexico's Supreme Court. I lost my... Wait,
That's
here we go.
a good looking
there it is.
newsletter.
There it is. Wait, I'm going to pause. Okay.
Time out.
Time out. Resume. Okay. Just days after Mexico's Supreme Court ruled the laws prohibiting the use, possession, and personal cultivation of marijuana are unconstitutional, key officials from the country's ruling party said they are already pondering legislation to legalize cannabis sales as well. First, Mexico's Congress will act to repeal the now invalidated criminal statutes against marijuana. But then, quote, we're going to take a step forward in the regulation that may already involve the production, marketing, and distribution of marijuana. That is from the future Interior Secretary. This from the country that arguably created reefer madness back in the 1800s. Yes, according to Leafly. So that's good to see that Mexico is doing that. Meanwhile, in China, this from Newsweek, they're warning their students in Canada that marijuana could harm their physical and mental health despite legalization. The Chinese consulate in Toronto issued a warning to its students joining South Korea with the ramifications of legalization in Canada. Meanwhile, in Australia, the very first medical cannabis trial for brain cancer is happening down under. Even though it's very tough to get medical cannabis in Australia, we are getting a trial of medical cannabis for a brain cancer. And I think it's even the brain cancer. Yes, it is glioblastoma. That is a big one. So that's good news.
That's the shit.
Meanwhile, back in in America, polls are showing support for marijuana are up 66%. 2/3 of the country want to legalize. In fact, the Scaramouche this week said that Donald Trump is planning to legalize marijuana after the midterms. Let's see what he had to say.
Change on his stance to marijuana in the next 2 years.
I do. I think he's going to legalize marijuana. I think he's waiting for after the midterms. I think he's on the side of legalization. I think the Attorney General probably wasn't, but I think the president is, and I think you'll see that. I'm sorry?
He's on his way out, most likely.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't want to speak about that because anything happens in the Trump world. You know, people have said that he was on his way out and Kelly was on their way out.
And of course, like we said at the top of the show, the FDA just got a truckload of marijuana comments delivered to them, according to Kyle Yeager over at Marijuana Moment. In fact, 10,000 additional comments came in from normal bunch of stoners, doubled the amount of comments in the last minute. So that's where that came from. Also, coming from Tom Angel, writing in Forbes, marijuana in the governor's mansion with a record number of candidates for governor say legalize it in their state. In fact, in one debate, a GOP gubernatorial candidate told his opponent to start smoking marijuana to chill out. Meanwhile, there was a big federal case where a jury found in favor of a Colorado marijuana grow against a RICO charge. This is huge. They were going to start using RICO laws to stop marijuana growers around the country. This was suggested by Hugh Hewitt. But this verdict is very good for the marijuana industry. RICO charges, a federal lawsuit, probably not going to be coming up in the future. So that's good news. Oh, geez. Oh, MedMen wants to trademark the word cannabis. Excuse me? What the hell are you saying? That's the headline hash, folks.
Smoke weed every day.
In 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Good job, Dave.
Give or take.
I'm proud of you, honey. You're the best.
That was fun.
Good job.
It'll get better.
Better and better.
It'll get better, especially right after I immediately started and I lost my image.
You were perfect.
But I did. It was
Everything
perfect.
Was great.
It was great. It was
Thank
perfect
you so
in
much.
every way.
It was.
Nothing is wrong and nothing is done.
That's
so
right.
We will continue.
We will continue
with the show. That was fun.
Good job. Yes, there's a little chat in the chat.
A chat in the chat.
About the future of drug testing and jobs and drivers and things like that. And it's my opinion from everything we know.
Chela's toke.
Yeah, my
Coach Chela's toke.
That for the near future, drivers aren't going to be able to get around the whole THC thing until it is scientifically proven, which it's coming, that THC doesn't affect you, impair you, the way maybe Oxy or Vicodin would. Because I would say Oxy and Vicodin stay in your system, impair you for longer than cannabis does. And soon science will catch up with that. But probably, 5-10 years, maybe longer.
I'm curious about that if it stays in your system longer, because I think
it doesn't stay in your system.
Yeah, because the THC stays in your fat cells.
Yeah, but Oxy and Vicodin impair you
right.
for longer. I think.
Well, it is. You are at a maximum intoxication. I hate that word. Impairment. You are at maximum effect of smoked cannabis in any form in 9 minutes.
Right.
Alcohol is 2 hours. So I don't know what Vicodin and Oxycontin is. If you're taking them regularly, you're going to build up tolerance too, though. Which I assume why people can function on a bag full of oxycodone every day. Because you build up a tolerance.
I think that as the science catches up, things are going to change. But it's going to take some time. It really is.
Well,
I would carry on somebody else's pee.
We're putting a lot of pressure on this magical herb. It is magic if we can just put it to use. Not really magic; it's science. But
exactly.
We've got a lot of damage to repair. 10 years of these drug pushers, and I mean big pharma and the opioids, which they continue. The FDA, for crimini's sake, just approved another deadly opiate.
Yeah.
For pain.
Perfect.
Just approved it. They approved cannabidiol, but they just approved another deadly opiate. So, we've got a lot of work to repair, and people are still dying every day.
115
in
and
big
more.
numbers under opiates. And a lot of this actually, one of the arguments that the prohibitionists are using is like, people are still dying from opiate overdoses and drug overdoses in Colorado. There's more, I'm going to say subtlety. There's more nuance to the numbers in these statistics than they're just spewing as anti-marijuana, because of course we are seeing the numbers. We are seeing statistics of opioid deaths dropping and prescriptions dropping where legal cannabis happens. But if you look at Colorado, you do see still numbers of people dying from drug overdoses. Well, what you are seeing is fewer people getting prescriptions. So they're not getting their transition through marijuana, and they're going to heroin, and they're dying from that. So they're not. So even though opioid deaths are down, other drug deaths are up. So it's a lot of nuance in the statistics. And anybody knows that took a college class in how to lie in statistics. No, you can lie with statistics. So you have to look a little deeper. It's like the car insurance crash numbers and insurance rates increases. There's about 6 other factors that they include in why insurance rates are up in Colorado, and it's not just legalized cannabis. That's like a tiny one. It's like an afterthought in their report, but it has to do with the number of drivers. It has to do with a bunch of stuff. So, we're going yellow, back green. Okay, we're still good.
Okay.
Awesome, excellent comment. I'm missing a lot of chats going through. It's great. Thank you for engaging and talking in the chat. I'll try to jump in. Chela, pull out any great chats you think. Reconnected, successful. This is really irritating.
And now we're on to the next story.
Story.
It's like a commercial.
It's like a commercial.
Getting us used to it.
This is Cannabis Culture Tour. Cannabis Club TV is getting us into our groove.
They're training us up.
Okay, so let's move into. Do you want to move into California since we're talking about that?
Did we do national already?
We did national. We don't really have any national.
Yeah, that's the national. Perfect. Yes, California, please. So events. I did the national story.
Perfect.
Let's do your events one from California.
All right. We'll start in California, just because tomorrow's the deadline apparently here in California, November 5th. Instead of a 90-day comment period, the Bureau of Cannabis Control here in California has a 15-day comment period before they finalize all of their laws for the state. Los Angeles just finalized their rules, and now California is going to finalize their permanent rules here in the great state of cannabis, California. And it's not going over real well with a few folks here in California, and it's really a bellwether, a canary in a coal mine, a cannabis canary in a pot shop. What's going on here in California? So before we get into just the news here in the West, let's take a look at a couple of clips. I'm going to start with
the 4-minute clip. The
4-minute clip of Doug. This is Doug, and I'm probably saying his name wrong, Dracup. But Doug Dracup he created what is known as the Chalice Festival here in California, and has been in the game for a long time. And he kind of sums up the way a lot of local market, traditional market, 215 market, a lot of the folks that have been working under the laws of California under Prop 215 before corporate cannabis and folks like MedMen came in to try to trademark the word cannabis. They literally filed the paperwork, people
who are actually cannabis. In it for the real reasons of helping people.
That's right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's fine. Let's see our video.
This is a panel, and I'll put the link to the full panel of the Future Cannabis Project. They do amazing panels. We're going to be at one next week. But this is Douglas Dracup from Chalice Festival. Let's see what he has to say.
The reason I said that is because I don't feel, based on the BCC's actions this year, this is my problem. And
a quick clarification. He just kind of jumped in there. What he said was, in an earlier clip, he said that he tried to get a permit, a legal permit for a Chalice Festival, and it was a shit show, and he didn't get it. And he said
he's going to talk about it.
He shouldn't have done that.
Right now, he's going to talk about it.
The reason I said that is because I don't feel, based on the BCC's actions this year, this is my problem. And I don't know you. I have a lot of respect for you. Hey, I'll shake your hand. He met Laurier Jackson. So it seemed like his event was pretty streamlined. So I got to go meet Laurier Jackson, get all political to fucking give me the same opportunity as other people do? I think that's bullshit. And I'm upset. And I'd say it right to her. I'm furious. I tried to meet with her. I have in a fucking email that I tried to meet with her. She met with High Times. She met with Emerald Cup. She didn't meet with me. That's not fair. And you know what? I should have thrown a black market event. And what I'd say to people is, don't bank on this shit. Because you know what? They can pull out the fucking rug from you at any point. And unless you're ready to grease the right people's pockets, I don't see how you got a fair chance. What I was going to say is, I got no faith in the BCC. That's why I don't think you should go legal. Unless you got the money to pay to play. And that's all these new guys coming in that have no real roots in the cannabis industry but want the money from it, coming up with witty shit. And, hey, stick with your heart. And you know what? Stay true to your culture. And all these people fronting like they have the culture's best interest in mind, they don't. And I don't know what next year brings, and I'm sure it's going to be a bunch of raids and a bunch of people going to jail because that's how they set it up. And it wasn't easy for us all to transition, and that wasn't fair, and they didn't have anybody involved who had any knowledge of the craft culture or what it was to use that plant to put food on your fucking plate for your families or your future or to pay your bills or your mortgage. And what it created is, I'm here at this coffee shop, and I have people who come in here as members that genuinely say, I was going to the dispensary for a while, but I can't do that anymore. Because it just doesn't make financial sense. The taxes are too high. The shit it just wasn't right. So when you're throwing an event, I put a lot of money out there. And I got fucked. Because I didn't have the extra money to pay the right people or something. And who's to say that my competition didn't try to stain that? This is the corrupt world we live in. So when you're getting ready to throw an event, you got to be aware of the politics in your area before you're investing a lot of money into this shit. Or you're going to get left like me in a bunch of debt trying to be ambitious. So it couldn't be any more real than that. Like, this plant really has changed my world. And it seems like you have these outsiders and this new classification of person who's fucking greedy and money hungry, and it's not about the same things. And that's real. And, you know, if I speak up on this, I don't really give a fuck anymore because no one else is speaking up on this shit. And everybody's coward to put it out there that the issues with the BCC stem from their poor decisions and their approach on shit. And I have put my comment in, you know, like, hey, you gotta speak up when they say you can, but why is someone able to get their license expedited? Because they know somebody there. How is that fair for you, man, that putting a mortgage on your house or taking your family's money to try to build a business? And I don't think it's a level playing field for any of the platforms. So, again, that's the best way I could answer that. I think, hey man, there's a lot of heart and love into people who grow this plant for the reasons they always have, and that won't change for a lot of people, you know, and I'll always buy my weed on the black market, man, period. So that's it.
A group of cannabis cultivators. So yeah, Brandon is like, this guy's on point. Yeah, he pretty much nailed what's going on here. Hitman Copy Shop. That's the one. That's what he's talking about.
He knows what he's doing, man.
Douglas Drake Cup Chalice Festival. We got another clip. Talks about this comment period that's going on for the Bureau of Cannabis Control, and there was really, you couldn't find the information about this comment period. They mentioned it.
Yeah.
These guys did in the thing, and I'm like, where? It's
We're like, wait, what? There's comments?
It's
what?
not on their website.
The day before the election. Oh yeah, and by the way.
And it's only if you scroll through their. Oh, there it is. In case you missed today's announcement on October 9th.
In case.
We've created. Oh no, that's
you
not.
Have,
sorry,
you
that's
have
that's not
alerts
it.
for this shit.
But no.
Daily Dope is saying, yeah, we gotta not let corporations bastardize our plant. True story. True story. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I just need
go ahead. Talk about some comments because I want to find
this.
Yes,
culture vultures ripping off our flesh. Daily Dope. Yes. He is talking. The reason he shook the hand of the guy next to him at that panel is because the guy next to him was in the fashion industry and decided to put on a cannabis convention.
He put on the Hall of Flowers.
Right.
Which was a business-to-business event here in California, which was innovative because it was the first one. And that's his deal.
He makes events.
He came from the fashion industry and makes
conventions,
award-winning events. And apparently, Hall of Flowers won an award because we sat with him at CanMed at dinner. After dinner, we talked to him, the guy who created the Hall of Flowers, not Douglas, the guy he was talking about.
Yeah, the guy who was sitting next to you that he shook the hand of.
Yeah, and he was
the reason he shook his hand is because he was just talking smack about him, saying, "Yo, you're not part of the culture. You just came in and made some money on us."
He was about to talk to him about. He was about to just smack him down. That's why he said, "I'm going to shake your hand." He said,
I respect you. I
respect you. But there's you made a very interesting observation.
Me?
There's this panel, because there are guys that are going with, okay, this is the law. How do we work with it?
Yeah, like
right?
water. They find the cracks and the crevices of where to get into and find their way around the shit.
This city will let us do this, so let's try to do that. Let's work into this gray area. But what if we do this? Can we do that? So that's kind of how we put together that hall of or whatever, the thing of flowers event for business to business. And then there was another event that was done last year under the gray area still, because the laws hadn't been put into place yet. And now they're going to try to do it again this year. But just to continue on with what's going on with the Bureau of Cannabis Control, because it's all connected, because she's going to talk one of the other panelists, which is another fascinating story on this panel, but talks about the questions or the suggestions of the Bureau of Cannabis Control. So yeah, you had to go to their Facebook page to say, oh, look, hey, listen, do you have any comments about the changes or the new law? You can go there, and then there you have to click on a PDF, and it tells you how you can make comments. And you can't do it online. You've got to send an email. There's no online form, but you can send an email, but it's due tomorrow. Because they cut the days down from 90 days. Instead of a 90-day period, they decided to do a 15-day period. So tomorrow is the deadline.
Oh my gosh.
To make comments to the Bureau of Cannabis Control in California.
They don't want our input.
Roles. And this is one of the suggestions by one of these panelists, and I'll get the names of all these panelists up and then as soon as we're done with this video, because they're good people to know, especially Douglas. But let's take a look at a clip as to what you might suggest to these guys, and also give you the discussion turns to this new event that we're going to go to next week and report on.
In Santa Monica, because we just heard about it on this panel. That's another thing we heard about on this panel. There's an event going on next week, and we're going to go to it, and they talk about putting it together and how they're trying to work with the laws as they are currently in iteration. So let's take a look at what Earlier in the panel, the guy that is trying to work with the laws talks about the fact that he's somebody who tries to find ways around shit.
5 ways around.
And I think that's always very interesting.
Right. The one partner comes up with great ideas, and the other partner says, okay, how do we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
here we go.
Let's take a look at this. I think I got the right section.
Yeah.
So I want to
say legal.
I want to do a plug for public comment. Everybody in here seems like they're really interested in events. We need to make some noise. Lori kind of stuttered and said we may or may not listen to you at NCIA's conference. Or she said they're going to listen to us. They're going to listen. Make any changes is what she said. But I wanted to just throw this out there to put some ideas in your head for your public comments. There's close to 100 different license types for alcohol. There should be 1,000 times more for cannabis, because alcohol is alcohol. You drink it. That's it. Cannabis is way more complex. And Lori Ajax came from the ABC. She knows this stuff. One of the things I really would love to see is an instructional tasting license. They have that for alcohol. Why can't we have that for cannabis? Instructional tasting, consumption only, We need to come up with some really good suggestions and make some comments.
And even if they don't happen this time around, the Bureau is vested with the right to create new license types. Actually, all of the agencies are, and not just during rulemaking. So this is not a fight that if we don't win today, we can't win the war situation. So I don't want people to lose momentum if we don't see substantial changes between now and when the official package goes to the Office of Administrative Law on the 3rd of December. These ideas of creating more license types that make the market more palatable are definitely still there, and then we are going to gear up for the legislative session of 2019. So I want to take all the great momentum and make sure that it permeates through the entire next year. But with that, Justin, you want to talk about the Emerald Exchange?
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to work this through in public with Pam Epstein.
Oh, no. Let's do it.
I wanted to.
Oh, God. Yay.
As a disclaimer, there is no official legal advice being exchanged. I am simply giving my opinion.
I thought what is in your brain is a commodity, and
It
is.
It is.
So, anyway.
Once you are retained.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. All right. Pajamas. Anyway.
Inside joke.
Okay. So.
Then we'll go.
On November 10th, we're going to be doing an exchange. Okay, on November 10th, we're going to be doing an Emerald Exchange. The city of Santa Monica signed off on it. They're allowing us to do it. They're allowing us to consume on site. The chief of police said that he sees no difference between cannabis smoking and cigarette smoking as long as it's not done within 20 feet of a window, a vent, or a doorway. We can smoke weed. So we are going to bring our farmers market back to Santa Monica for the first time. It's the first time there's going to be something like a cannabis market in Santa Monica, in the same space where they do the weekly food farmers market, which is going to be pretty sweet. And our loophole essentially is we have partnered with Herb Delivery. Herb Delivery is going to be on site.
You have not partnered.
Okay. They have come
First
on to support us.
point.
Okay, thank you. There you go. See, this is exactly why I'm doing it. Can you edit that? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have.
They are not partnered. They are in a dispensary that is available to deliver to that location.
Word up. Okay, so what we are going to be doing is essentially you're going to be able to see the product, and then you're going to be able to place orders, right? And Herb is going to deliver it on site. Is that correct?
How is the product getting there?
It's going to be ordered.
No. I get that.
The
So
initial
under
order.
the emergency regulations, and there's a very big difference, right? The permanent regulations go into effect sometime in January. Right now, we are living under the readopted regulations, and under the readopted regulations, you can have up to $10,000 worth of product in your delivery truck, and as long as you're receiving orders from those that are 21 years of age or older, you can be out for 30 minutes returning, fulfilling orders. Now, point of fact, this will not work into 2019 if the regulations stay the way that they are currently presented, because dynamic delivery is significantly lessened. And there are more restrictions. So during the emergency regulation period, if people that were attending this allowable consumption event happen to go onto an app and happen to be able to place an order, that delivery car from that licensed delivery service can keep continually taking orders as long as they are delivering to an address within the state of California.
And that's enough of that.
Blah, 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 blah. Illegal, legal,
blah, 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 blah.
But there are loopholes and there are ways. And then there are ways to do things.
And there's Ease, the other delivery service. So, yes.
So this guy is finding all the little ways to do his thing. And she later goes on to say that it's great that he's doing that because then the city will be like, oh, that's cool, and then other people will be able to do more, and then it'll evolve, and it'll eventually be where we all think it should be, which is tomatoes. So eventually we'll get to tomatoes, but, you know, this guy is doing the heavy lifting of the bullshit that you have to go through with the fucking bureaucracy that we all can't stand, and it's great that he's doing that for the rest of us who can't stand that shit.
And until then, there's going to be a large segment that continues to be rolled up every day.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be in Toronto or Los Angeles or anywhere else that is decided on a legalization scheme. A Prohibition 2.0 basically is created because they have a list. They have a list of legal people who are paying their fees, paying their licensing extortion, paying the extravagant and ridiculous lab testing scheme and system for the great clean medicine weed that has never been a problem in 70 years of illegal cannabis sales, people growing around the country. Nobody ever thought about it before. It wasn't really an issue. But the pediatric cancer kids, I get you. But guess what? Aunt Zelda is screwed. That lady, there's a lady in this movie that
she's okay. Don't worry.
She was making great medicine, and she even said under Prop 64, essentially, she's out of business, and now she has to go. Now she's out of making medicine and providing medicine for people, but she's come up with a.
No, she's still working. Don't worry. So, no, she's fine, hon. She's fine.
Yeah, but it's all going to be,
she had to go through a lot of horse shit to still be fine. And will she still be fine after January 9th? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she's worked out. I don't know her yet, but I'm going to know her. I'm going to know her, and we're going to talk to her.
All those people.
We're going to talk to her. I hope to meet her maybe on our next road trip.
So those people on that panel, which the link is in the description of the this video, the Future Cannabis Project. This is the California Cannabis Event Producers Tell Their Stories. Doug Dracup, Pam Epstein is the lawyer. Holden Yeager is on the panel as well from Altered Plates. Danny Diamonstein, founder of Hall of Flowers was it called, and we sat with him and chatted with him. Susan Soros was the speaker, the blonde lady, founder of State of Cannabis out of Orange County, Republican. And Justin Calvino, founder of Emerald Exchange and the host of next week's event. So we're going to play a little video from last year's what is it? The Emerald Exchange.
Emerald Exchange.
That he did to take us into our next area. Yeah.
That was up north at like a harvest festival.
Right.
But this is the quality of event that I am expecting to attend in Santa Monica next week.
Indeed. It will be apparently without cannabis displays, with cannabis there, but there will be consumption on site, which is really, if they could, I agree, if they could give us a consumption-only license.
That'd be awesome.
Be awesome.
Be great.
That'd be awesome.
Tasting license? Oh my God,
yeah,
that'd be amazing.
I mean, let's be
West
reasonable.
Hollywood is coming up.
West Hollywood. Here's my prediction.
We're excited.
Santa Monica, I think, is okay. They're breaking some ice. But West Hollywood is going to be the new Amsterdam.
Yeah.
On the West Coast. It's going to be a battle between San Francisco and West Hollywood. Thank the gays for being much more open progressive,
open-minded,
to liberté.
Liberté,
quite frankly, is what that's all about. And they're like, bring it, man. We're going to have the LA area is going to have the consumption lounges in West Hollywood coming very quickly. So we thank you guys. Let's take a look at. This.
Last year's Emerald Exchange.
Oh, it's in the Western Wall.
From 2017.
It looks like a cool event. I'm sure, even though they're not going to have any.
It was different then.
It's going to be different.
It's going to be different, but interesting in similar ways.
It's going to be great.
Let's have a look.
Take a look.
We are at Emerald Exchange 2017 in Southern California. It is an awesome event here today in the beautiful sunshine. Absolute Extracts and Care by Design are so happy to be here today.
The Emerald Exchange is really about creating direct connections between the cultivators and the communities.
These people that are here are all family. You're seeing roots culture. The vibe here is roots. You come here to the Emerald Exchange to meet the real. That's what we're cultivating in this space.
One of the things that we do is this passport program where people come to the event and rather than just get a swag bag, they grab a passport, they go and they get stamps from each one of the different sponsors so they get a direct connection with each one of those people to learn about their product, understand about their process. And that's the kind of connection we like to foster at the Exchange.
It's a really intimate event, and being so intimate, it allows for us to meet brands and people that we would never otherwise meet.
It's a really interesting atmosphere because there's a lot of consumers here, there's a lot of business-to-business people, there's a lot of people doing a lot of research. It's really fun because everybody's sort of in the same place at the same time trying to figure all this out.
What I love about the Emerald Exchange is the intimacy and the chance to be really close to people, not be in a hurry about conversation, get to be ourselves and share our stories and our brands. Love up in each other. It's all about love.
Emerald Exchange is to us really about raising the bar, and they really bring the companies that are just the most cutting edge, the most innovative. We get the highest quality products here, and they're just super excited to be part of it. I mean, the people that come here ask the best questions. So everyone's here to party, have fun, but also a really conscious group, and that's something I really like about this event.
It's epically beautiful here, and being able to connect with people, it's really awesome. Great music, great food, great flowers, great medicine.
So this is one of he's actually a pretty cool company. He's trying to help the small growers and the family growers, the family farms here in California that are being consumed by the large corporate cannabis. And as a matter of fact, one of the things we learned at the CanMed was that MedMen's plan, not only to trademark the word cannabis, we didn't hear about that there, but we did hear that right now their model is 10% MedMen product, 90% outside source product, and eventually their goal is to reverse that and have 90% of their own product in their stores and 10% outside. So a lot of these small companies are just going to get, overwhelmed by big companies that are going to be vertically integrated, like Acreage Holdings, and these other giant corporations that are going to just literally monopolize this industry. So it's good to see Emerald Exchange trying to keep the family farms together. Integrity in Colorado. And these are the California farms that are being enveloped by corporate cannabis. So we'll let you know next week, folks. We're going to go to this on Saturday. Is it Saturday? When is it?
Yeah, it's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
So we'll report on it next week. And Emerald Exchange here in Santa Monica. And where apparently you'll be able to consume. I'm assuming you can bring your own.
Yeah.
Right?
Ernest of Gaia is saying, in Oregon, everywhere is a place for consumption. We don't need no stinking license. I know, it's like that really here, too.
Can you really consume outdoors in Oregon? Is that true? Is it designated areas, or what's that?
I'm sure they just blaze up like we blaze up when we go to shows and stuff.
Yeah, we just don't.
We just do it.
Yeah, because nobody gets arrested.
No, because nobody that looks like us gets arrested.
What was really funny about that SNL sketch is that although all those people in it were the white people.
Yeah.
Except for
hiding
90% of them
from
were
each
white.
other. That was really the thing.
And then the cops saying they're going to arrest them for lighting up, which is really funny because they know they don't arrest white people for smoking in New York.
No, we know. They don't.
Or anywhere for that matter. Well, I guess they do in some places. But not here out in the West Coast. So so we're going to go to that. We're going to report on it. So that's cool. We have another social butterfly reefer. We'll have to come up with our name for our social exploits. But we're reporting. This is hard reporting on cannabis events around Southern California. Meanwhile,
the experience of a middle-aged couple.
That's right.
Middle-aged white couple.
Through the perception of a middle-aged white couple in cannabis consumers. And if you're interested, if you're curious, we are smoking bags of...
Everyone's happy about the air riser. Air riser's back. Yes.
We are. This is, let me tell you, the kosher jack at 390 degrees in the air riser. Ba-doom! Very tasty. All the terpenes just flowing through there. Yummy. Thank you.
All good stuff.
Callie. Who's our...
Cali Secret Gardens.
That's it. Cali Secret Gardens.
And I'm expecting, while we were at that secret private party, comedy party, I don't really know what to call it. We heard of a secret speakeasy. A speakeasy in North Hollywood.
Well,
we're super excited about going.
We do have this consumption issue here in California, and there have been known to have some places around the area that you can consume, sort of in a private club situation.
Yeah, where you can hang out with other consumers.
Gray area, and that's really That's what's going to change in West Hollywood is you're going to actually, like in San Francisco, you can walk into a dispensary and go up to a dab bar or a social lounge and consume, get vaporized or smoke or do a dab, and that's what it's going to be in West Hollywood. So that's pretty exciting. We'll report on that when that happens. But these underground, if you will, private events, pop-up events are going to be a thing. They do food events. There's food events that want to happen, and they're going to have to change. They're going to have to be more lenient, but it's all the wild, wild west. We
are in California, so
we are in California.
We're going.
And it's really this really strange dichotomy of this corporate cannabis monolith coming in, taking over. It looks like it's going to steamroller over this industry, making tons of money. It's going to happen on the stock market too, making tons of money. Meanwhile, every week, the same stories about people getting locked up, getting busted, moving it into states that aren't legalizing it. So they're making money on that end too. Now, Scaramouche is the mooch, right? Is this all talk? Is this all Cannabis 2018? Trying to get people to vote for, because Donald's on the ballot, apparently, is what he's saying. So is it all politics? They know, obviously, that cannabis is the issue that everybody agrees on, and they get both sides of the aisle. 66% people want to legalize it in the country. Even Republicans, a majority of Republicans are for it. So they know they're politicians. They know what's up. So we'll see. I'd say getting rid of Sessions is probably more of a possibility than Trump just coming out and saying, I'm descheduling cannabis.
I think he's going to do both.
He might reschedule and support the States Act.
Yes.
Especially if the Democrats take over.
Oh, yeah.
Because then that'll get him reelected.
Mm-hmm.
Because the States Act will go through. Warren thinks it'll go through if the Democrats take over. And because McConnell's not on board, Pete Sessions, so those guys got to go. So if those guys go and Trump wants to get reelected, he signs the States Act. He reschedules cannabis.
That'll totally get him reelected.
Erase.
Stop shooting those rockets and sounding like another show. Let's move on to another story.
We've got one other California story we want to cover.
Oh God, we're still in California.
We have one California story. So we're going to play it. Because it's part of the revolution. It's a revolution story. That's not it. Where is it? Here it is. In San Luis Obispo, the growers, they got problems. Let's check it out. We're into the West, folks. This is DC.
It is. It's still DC. You are DC.
I am DC. I am DC. Follow DC at DC420LA on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. And you can watch the show Reefer Revolution at DC420LA on YouTube for now. And let's get into the Western Bloc as we move from the Future Cannabis Project and the laws of Los Angeles to some local laws and the problems with growers are having up there in SLO, San Luis Obispo. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Subscribe, get notifications. Free the plant, free the people. This is Reefer Revolution.
A group of cannabis cultivators in the California Valley is asking for a little more time before the businesses completely shut down. But according to San Luis Obispo County leaders, the operations were never legal. KSBY's Kelsey McFarland explains why farmers are asking for an extension and why the county wants them out.
At one time, SLO County leaders say there were up to 250 illegal marijuana cultivation sites in California Valley.
Cannabis cultivation or any cannabis activities have never been legal in California Valley or anywhere in the county for that matter, up until adoption of the more recent permanent ordinance.
In September of 2016, SLO County supervisors adopted an urgency cannabis ordinance stating farmers could keep their marijuana plants as long as they registered with the county.
What that urgency ordinance essentially did was sort of hit pause on all the grows as the county figured out what it wanted to do as a part of developing a permanent ordinance.
Registration came with requirements.
And they go on your property, they inspect, they tell you, hey, if you have wood or you're not supposed to have it, you've got to remove it. And to get your approvals, you had to Do these things and spend the money. And they got these approvals.
Alan Carroll represents a group of about 60 migrant farm workers, mostly from Southeast Asia, who registered their grows with the county. He says with the intention of planting roots and building a community in California Valley.
These people did not come down here and go up in the woods and just start growing. They went, they registered, they got medical recommendations, they did everything lawful. And it appears that they're paying for the people that were unlawful.
But the registration forms included a disclaimer warning applicants that their registration would no longer be valid when the urgency ordinance expired or when the county adopts a permanent ordinance. And that's exactly what happened. In November of 2017, supervisors adopted an ordinance that prohibited growing marijuana in California Valley.
And the permanent ordinance said, if you were in a particular spot, you're done.
Now the county is issuing hefty fines and ordering hundreds of people to clear out their crops.
Carol says these farmers just want a little more time to harvest their marijuana crops so that they don't lose all of the money that they put into these properties.
I offered them, listen, I can get 60 to 70 of these people out of there, but all you have to do is allow them to get through the season so they can recoup something, so they're not, because these are not rich people.
So far, the county says it's held up to 75 hearings with the growers, trying to find a compromise.
Some of those sites have been abated through the counties actually going out there, removing plants, destroying the plants.
Caro says he's been successful in getting an extension for a few of his clients. The rest may not be so lucky.
I think they lose a lot of money, a lot more money than anybody should lose.
Kelsey McFarland, KSBY News.
Right now, there are 2 businesses legally operating in San Luis Obispo County. There are 80 permit requests moving through the queue. Some of those are marijuana farms that are hoping to relocate from California Valley.
So the woes of growers, man, that's hard to lose an entire crop. That's going on with testing,
They didn't have to plant it. I mean, it takes 3 months to grow. They knew they were supposed to be out. It's not like it was a big giant surprise. I'm sorry, but really.
Well, geez.
I don't like that story.
Well, that's our only California story this week. So
That's a shitty
sorry.
story. Let's
other
move
than
on.
that, but meanwhile, there are a lot. Check your local ballots in California, folks. There's a bunch of city stuff this year. This on Tuesday in all the cities: San Diego, Bakersfield. All the hater cities have them going this year on the ballot. So LA's got the banking. Measure B, vote yes on Measure B. And
yes on Measure B.
There's a lot of good things a public bank in Los Angeles would do. Cannabis is kind of on the back burner for them, but we're going to slip in there.
We'll get there.
If the feds don't change the laws. Banking laws may be one of the things they do change. So we'll see. But if you want to find out how to vote and where to vote, what the suggestions are for normal, they have a really good Smoke the Vote over on their page. And you can look up by state their recommendations. They recommend they give Gavin Newsom an A and John Cox a B-, the Republicans. So these guys are definitely marijuana-centric in their recommendations. For instance, Rohrabacher, he is an A+. De Leon, that's the one. That's the one we're recommending for Senate race.
What's he got?
He's got an A from normal.
Well, he was a keynote speaker at a cannabis conference.
And Feinstein has a C.
C because she's late to the party.
That's right. In our district, strangely enough, if I come across it, our guy, Kenneth Mejia, we're voting for the Green in our district. He's got like a B.
That's not cool. I got to tell him.
He's not very vocal on cannabis.
No, he's not, because he doesn't. He believes in it in a latent kind of way. I think he believes in it, but he hasn't had personal experience. His mom had cancer, and I think she was using some oil, but I don't think and I don't think she embraced it to the degree she could have, and I don't think he has experienced it in the same life-changing way that maybe the rest of us have.
Right. That's a possibility.
When he's finished with this run, we can take him on a journey, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And was it Bernie? I think endorsed Gomez too. So but Ro Khanna, he's got an A+. Zoe Lofgren's got an A. So there's plenty of Nunes F. Got to get him out of there. Vote for Andrew Jans. If you're in California District 22, Let's get Nunes out of there. McCarthy, of course, big F. So, a blue wave would help. But I think that they would move things along, quite frankly. I know there's some chat going on about, who's on board in the Republican Party, Sessions and Trump. He's anti-weed. In our open, he seems to be, I think he's more convincible in medical marijuana. And I think he's gonna, he says he's on board the STATES Act. He's said that more than once. So, I think that's a possibility, and leaving the states alone and possibly descheduling, for medical. I mean, somehow, I don't know. We'll see. Rescheduling rather. So there you go. That's California. Get out there and vote. Check your ballot. Make sure your local initiatives are being voted for. Let's move on to Utah.
I just want to say,
yes.
Last point on that.
Yes.
Because I don't want to type because I have this bag in my hand.
Copy. Pass that over here.
The fact is, Brando, if Californians don't vote that bitch out, I will be really, really disgusted. She has got to go. She has had to go for a really, 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 really long time. And I'd be very surprised if she still had a job in the Senate after tomorrow. I'd be very surprised.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, sorry.
I'm going to say it's going to be closer than expected, but she ain't going anywhere.
Fuck.
But,
Dave.
What do I know?
All right, I just don't want to watch TV till Thursday.
And I haven't watched the news in a month, so I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, no, maybe you're more in touch than ever.
I watched Saturday Night Live this week. That was enough to get the news I needed.
I watched the first sketch and then I went to sleep.
Yes, and our dog is super cute. That is Jackpot over there.
With his cone.
With his cone on to keep him from over-grooming. So let's move into Utah. And because, of course, it's Utah is one of the big states that medical marijuana is on the ballot. And, of course, it's been a big controversy discussed between the church and the everybody, and they're gonna pass their own bill. One of them even got stoned. Well, one of them ate a gummy, didn't get stoned, but felt pretty good. Felt okay. I thought that was pretty bold, actually. Interesting coming out of Utah.
He did it on the street. He was a total lawmaker breaking the law.
Totally broke the law. But he had a great idea with, he's in this news report, that's why I talk about him. But he had a great idea of giving a special dispensation to all the lawmakers to sit in a room and eat a gummy and see how that it's not that big a deal. And I'm like, that'd be a great party to videotape. Let's stream that live. That would be fun. But they're not going to do that. But they are talking about it because it's on the ballot in Utah. So if you've got any opinions about Utah, drop them in the chat. Brando, what do we think? What are we thinking about, what is it? Prop something?
There's a bunch of them.
Let's find out.
Come on.
Check it out, Shecky. There's a bunch. That's right.
There's
Utah has a bunch.
them.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what's going on.
Happening tomorrow, the public will have an opportunity to join lawmakers and advocates in a discussion about Proposition 2, the Utah Medical Cannabis Act. With 10 days left before Election Day, ABC4's Rosie Nguyen joins us in the studio to recap the marijuana debate. Rosie?
Well, Andrew, Speaker Greg Hughes and Senator Jim DeBacchus joined ABC4 News on Utah Inside Politics this morning for the debate on medical marijuana. Hughes encouraged Utahns to vote no on Prop 2 after stakeholders came up with a compromise bill 3 weeks ago. But DeBacchus says he doesn't trust legislators to follow through with the compromise if Prop 2 fails. Proposition 2 would allow private facilities to grow, process, test, and sell medical marijuana and allow patients with certain medical conditions to use medical marijuana in a state-controlled process. Opponents of this act say if passed, Prop 2 would expose children to a dangerous and addictive drug and increase traffic fatalities as well as criminal activity.
It would be disingenuous to say that lawmakers or a legislative body would embrace with both arms right away an idea that you would create a statutory structure for something that circumvents or violates federal law.
The problem is that Greg and his Republican cronies had year after year after year to help patients. And every single year they said, nope, 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 they wouldn't do it.
Governor Herbert said he will call a special session after the election, regardless whether Prop 2 passes. Supporters of medical marijuana say even if Prop 2 passes, lawmakers could change it down the road. That public meeting is at 8 p.m. tomorrow night at Alder Security in Orem. And to see that full interview with Speaker Hughes and Senator DeBakis, head over to our website at abc4.com. Andrew, back to you.
ABC4 is your local election headquarters, and tonight medical cannabis continues to be a heated topic and really one of the most controversial initiatives on the ballot.
For some, the initiative means giving Utah patients another option for treatment. For others, it's just a way to legalize marijuana in Utah. Tonight in Orem, a discussion on medical cannabis between lawmakers and the public.
ABC4's Nick McGurk joins us now live where they just had that meeting and where it just ended with more. Nick.
Well, Speaker Greg Hughes, the most prominent politician here tonight. Of course, if Proposition 2 passes, medical marijuana would be available to qualifying patients in our state. And Speaker Greg Hughes saying tonight he understands there's not a lot of trust between a lot of the parties involved here. And so he wanted to bring everybody together to have a discussion, not only about Proposition 2, but this independent legislation that was announced earlier this month. And you might remember that there was a big news conference. Members of the LDS Church, the Libertas Institute, it's a independent libertarian think tank, and of course Speaker Greg Hughes, all kind of basically saying what they want to do is get medical cannabis to those in need by passing some kind of legislation regardless of how Proposition 2 does in the polls. Now tonight, people gathering mostly in support of Proposition 2, they had a lot of concerns about the LDS Church being involved in the process, even concerns about the limited number of dispensaries that would be allowed under this hypothetical plan, also expressing a lack of trust that the compromise would get it right for those who need medical cannabis in Utah.
But I'm concerned about the cost at the end of the day. You do this, and we are going to have to go back to the illegal market or to the states next door, which means what? This program was born in fear and designed to fail.
Well, what I would say to those that are worried, if you want to vote for Proposition 2, vote for Proposition 2. If you didn't want to vote for Proposition 2 because you were worried about some of the unintended consequences, you don't have to vote for it because we are building together a broad-based agreement that really addresses those issues, and we're going to bring that forward to the public, win or lose.
Speaker Hughes saying tonight that whatever the state decides to do as far as this legislation in partnership with other groups, it's not gutting Prop 2. What he said tonight is basically when you have opponents coming together, opponents of basically what Proposition 2 would be a proponent of, he said that's a good thing. So the advantage is you have even critics of Prop 2 coming together to compromise to get medical cannabis to those who need it. Obviously, the vote for Proposition 2 coming up very shortly, so we'll see how that all plays out as well. For now, reporting live in Orem, I'm Nick McGurk, ABC4 News.
Right there. But he is a snappy dresser.
He's a snappy dresser, and RBU 83. Anyone know how much influence the Mormon Church has in Utah? You are Australian, that's right. Mormon Church has a lot of influence in Utah.
Oh yeah,
Was that a joke?
that's so cute.
The
Mormon Church is Utah.
Yeah, the Mormon Church is Utah. But to answer that question, however, early a month or so ago, the polls were saying that it was pretty much a shoo-in that this would pass. And then, as reported on a number of marijuana outlets like Marijuana Moment and such, money started to pour in from the church. They could put out a big campaign, but basically, it still looks like it's gonna pass. Now, well, we hope it's gonna pass because
we think it's gonna pass.
We don't want the alternative.
Listen, we did a story a few weeks ago about the Mormon mom in Utah,
right,
who's giving her kid cannabis.
Yeah, how many? What's that network like?
That network is huge.
Is that network that big, you think?
I think, listen, the Mormons talk to each other. This is a big deal. They show up for each other.
They don't go and get coffee, but they do talk to each other.
They talk.
Yes.
They talk. And if her kid is being helped, it's going to spread throughout the whole thing. And they love to do sneaky shit. So they might say out loud that they're against the Proposition 2, but then they're going to vote for it. And my friend, who is a DJ in Salt Lake, said he voted for it, and it feels pretty good where he's living.
Mhm.
So,
Well, that would be where it would be. They do have Starbucks in Salt Lake City.
yeah. The sentiment in the chat is that they're full of shit, obviously.
Yeah.
And
But those are all the
yeah.
bullshit talking points.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm with Brando that it needs to pass so that they don't come up with some
100%.
nonsense. Yeah, and they're gonna. I mean, I would say even if it does pass, they're gonna
They're gonna
come
try
up
to
with some
gut
nonsense. That's what happened in Oklahoma.
Yep.
So they're gonna try to gut it. They'll try to change it, but at least they'll have a leg to stand on because it was will of the people.
Yeah.
Now, if it passes big, then we'll see. But we'll see. I think it's going to be pretty close. But I'm going to bet it passes. I'm going with pass on.
Me too. I'm going with pass.
Prop 2. Prop 2?
Yes.
Prop 2.
Prop 2. All right. Next.
Very good. Very good.
Or next story.
Very good. We're going to move out of the West, folks.
All right. Moving on to the next section.
Weird. No other stories this week in the West.
Hey, Brando's in the chat. Why don't we move to the Midwest and start with Michigan?
We do that. We will do that. That sounds like a great idea.
Michigan is huge. It's
this is a big one.
Huge, as Brando and those who follow the Daily Dope Show know.
Prop 1. Great coverage
Huge.
on Prop 1 this week. Over at the Daily Dope Show.
A lot of news stories about it. A lot of news stories. A lot of reefery news stories that we cut out of the show.
The local markets in Michigan have been flooded with this news because it's big. It's big for Michigan.
I bet voter turnout is going to be enormous. Brandon, have they said that it's already? Do they have early voting?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Brando?
We'll find out. Let's
Do they have
watch.
early voting?
As we answer that question in the chat, let's go into some of the news stories coming out of Michigan. Our first one coming from WDIV Local 4, and just to start that observation off, Chela, support for this bill right now is at 57%, and 40 oppose. So let's take a look at how WDIV handles the coverage. As I unmute them.
New poll numbers just in on a proposal to make recreational marijuana legal in Michigan. It does seem poised to pass by a rather wide margin right now. But as that debate brews, a judge issued a critical ruling today concerning the licensing of medical marijuana facilities. Mara McDonald live in Bloomfield Hills tonight with a lot going on this issue. Mara.
There sure is, Devin, and you're right. According to our exclusive polling, pot is poised to pass. But isn't there always a but? There is one here, and let's get to it. If you're a political operative pushing a ballot proposal, the golden number you're looking for going into Election Day is 60%. That's the number that says you've got this. Recreational pot is polling at 57%, just about there. But here's where things get a little interesting. There's been virtually no movement on this 57% in 2 years. Voters know this issue. They know where they stand. Only close to 3% say they're undecided. All of that said, a word of caution from our pollster.
The red flag I'd throw up on Proposal 1 is if voters under 40 don't turn out at even the minimal expected level of a midterm, then this race is going to be that race is going to be closer. But if they turn out at just the basic minimal level we expect under 40 voters to come out, that race should be fine.
As we mull recreational pot, once again, the state is in the middle of litigation over the current licensing of medical pot facilities. To say there have been growing pains with medical marijuana since its passage is an understatement. The state's licensing board late today got slapped with a temporary restraining order. The state had decided all medical pot shops without a license were to be shut down by tomorrow. Tonight, a judge says, hold on. At issue is the licensing process.
I represented a facility that put in their application in February, and they just got their Step 2 approval in the last couple of weeks. So it takes many months to get a Step 1 and Step 2 approval in the state of Michigan. So this isn't something that even takes 3 or 4 months. It's taking a lot longer.
Back here live a lot longer, as between 6 months to a year. That's why you saw a judge step in here, grant that temporary restraining order. All sides go to court on November 9th to try and come up with some sort of a date where all of these places either are going to be approved for their licensing or not. We're live in Bloomfield Hills tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Yeah, and Brando
And we aren't just voting on a new...
Brando mentioned this. Michael Moore voted for Prop 1 on Seth Meyers, and then he tweeted about it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, our one of our favorite cannabis heroes, Alexis Bortel, is supporting Prop 1 and changing some stuff, like that 10% excise tax afterwards. So she supports that. Also, we didn't have any Colorado stories. I found it interesting that there were no Amendment X news stories. But in Colorado, of course, Alexis and Daily Dope have been talking about Amendment X out there, which is trying to reclassify hemp and leave it to the feds. They've got a pretty good hemp law, I guess, in Colorado right now. And so Amendment X, no on Amendment X in Colorado.
No on Amendment X in Colorado.
Yeah, go ahead, Chela.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
You're done.
Yep. I was going to go to the next Michigan story.
The next Michigan story,
Yep.
yes, Daily Dope is saying the turnout is going to be huge. The green wave will also bring a blue wave.
Right. Green wave, green blue, aquamarine wave.
Aquamarine, turquoise. And that way they'll remember where they came from.
Yes. We're going to, you watch, you see, wait for these marijuana numbers.
It's going to be amazing.
You look where marijuana's on the ballot, though. That's where you're going to have record blowout turnout. I guarantee it. Yeah. Blaster Master, hey buddy, did you see the bullshit poll that CNN did that said Biden was the front runner for the Dems in 2020? The vast majority of the people they polled were 50 years older. Democrats, no independents. No, I did not see that.
Because we don't watch the news anymore.
We don't watch the news anymore. It's great.
It's pretty cool.
It's fucking awesome.
It's the best thing ever.
And I'll laugh my ass off if Joe Biden is. They did before we went on the news fast, which has been great. They were talking about that. So see how the news never changes?
Yeah.
It's
been over a month.
It's been over a month. The mainstream establishment news literally has not changed. Biden is still the front runner for them. So
which
there
is
you go.
hilarious, and that you all know
Yep.
what that means. That if Biden is their nominee, we have 4 more years of the orange turd that's going to take cannabis off the Schedule 1.
And legal cannabis. That's right.
You guys, crazy town.
Because watch that. Well, that's the thing. But we've got to 2020
let's
for
stop
that.
talking about it. It's terrible.
Biden is another.
Forget
it.
it.
Why did you suck me into that, Blaster Master? You've made us digress. You know they hate us. They hate us when we digress. All right, we're back into the next Midwest story. Detroit. We had like 20 Detroit. We had 20 Michigan stories this week, and none in California. Big. Weird. Here we go.
And we aren't just voting on a new governor or U.S. senator next week. There could be a historic change to Michigan state law next Tuesday. We'll have a chance to vote yes or no on allowing recreational marijuana. But even if the measure passes, some cities could place their own restrictions or even ban the sale of marijuana. 24-Hour News 8's Marvis Herring explains, all new at 7.
The city council here in Grand Haven already spoke out, asking voters to check no on the recreational proposal next week. City leaders tell me if that doesn't happen, they already have a plan.
It's obvious it's happening across the country. It's coming this way. It seems to be swinging towards legalization, so let's be ready for it.
Grand Haven City Manager Pat McGinnis tells me their attorneys are already looking into what power City Council will have should Proposal 1 pass next Tuesday.
Where are we going to allow it? How many? Will it be located near schools?
Another major question, will they allow the sale of marijuana? Municipal law attorney Ronald Reddick is fielding similar questions from many Michigan leaders.
The question that came up immediately is what is the scope of local regulation that's allowed under the proposal?
Reddick explained Proposal 1 gives cities, townships, and villages the capability to opt out, banning or limiting pot businesses in their area. They can also charge marijuana businesses up to $5,000 in administrative fees.
If you do not want these type of new recreational facilities, you need to adopt an ordinance actually prohibiting them.
That's what cities like Grand Haven have been working on. McGinnis says while they may not opt out, he wanted a legal team to research options so he could quickly present to City Council after Tuesday's vote. And they're not alone.
We have a number of cities that are collaborating in a consortium to fund the effort to develop model language for an ordinance.
From Grand Haven to the UP, even the Detroit area, McGinnis says around 60 municipalities are splitting the cost, paying a law firm to provide potential guidance. All of this is new for everyone.
Currently, we have an employment policy that if you use illegal drugs, you're subject to discipline up to and including discharge. Will that change with the new law?
And we are your home for all things elections. Make sure you're watching 24-Hour News 8 on air and online next Tuesday. In Grand Haven, Marvis Herring, 24-Hour News 8.
Supporters of legalizing recreational marijuana are not waiting for the votes to be counted on Prop 1. Today at Cobo, there is a first-of-its-kind convention, one where all the businesses are geared toward the pot industry.
Insurance, irrigation, legal services, financing.
Hi, how are you?
Heck, even marketing.
Well, feel free to take a magazine.
It's like a bridal show, but for pot. A quick walk around the Commercial Cannabis Conference and Expo at Cobo reveals just about everything you need if your business is marijuana.
I project in 3 years' time, GM will be a major sponsor.
Thomas Tong believes even car companies could be utilizing hemp in its parts. He organized the expo because he says it's crucial for the state if Prop 1 passes.
It's very important that we take that time and set up our market right to bring all the key people together. That's the only way we're really going to win and set up a strong state program.
Many people, though, are concerned the state isn't ready if Prop 1 passes.
The truth is we don't speak the same language. So when you're an entrepreneur and you're talking to somebody in government, it's very different. So sometimes you need somebody to help you translate that language a little bit because it's just a different approach.
If you drag out the development of an industry, you impact the major stakeholders, right from government to an investor, to a patient waiting for medication. So it constrains everybody.
It's actually a guru of ganja. Yes.
The expo has big names too, like, yes, the guru of ganja, Ed Rosenthal. He's also high on legalization in Michigan.
It's going to reinvigorate both the greenhouse industry and the farm industry here in Michigan. It's a great thing for every state that's legalizing it.
That expo, by the way, runs through tomorrow at Cobo.
And proposal number 1 on the November ballot is making a stir as Michiganders decide whether recreational marijuana should be legalized. Local 5's Aaron Taylor was in Michigan and Wisconsin today to find out how Marinette and Menominee are looking at the legislation.
Geographically, not much separates Marinette and Michigan.
From Marinette to Michigan, it is just the Menominee River, so I want to say not even a quarter of a mile.
But if the proposal to legalize marijuana and regulate it like alcohol passes, more will separate these two cities than this river.
So I would say the past year, the department, and I know other jurisdictions nearby, they've been focusing on identifying impairment with people who are under the influence of marijuana.
Take a drive across that bridge and Proposal 1 is all the buzz.
I work in a smoke shop. I hear a lot, hey, what about this? I hear a lot of people talking about this proposal and how they would like it.
According to the Detroit Free Press, the latest poll sees Proposal 1 passing with a 57 to 41% margin.
There's a few people that I've talked to, maybe 2, I think, that were just up in arms. They didn't know what to do. But for the most part, people are all good and going forward.
And that's in part because of the potential benefits to Michigan's economy.
It'll help the communities tax-wise. Once it goes recreational, the state gets more budgeting, more money.
Legal sales of marijuana are expected to exceed $1 billion if the proposal passes. But in Marinette, officers remember the changes that came with Michigan's legalization of medical marijuana back in 2008.
We didn't just see an increase in seizures of marijuana just by grams or ounces. It's literally been pounds that have been seized in the city of Marinette.
But not everyone shares those concerns.
Look at California and Oregon. They've been legal for a long time. I don't see a big problem in Nevada. I don't see a big problem in Idaho. Am I saying that people won't come across the border and do it? No, but I don't see it being a problem at all.
Michiganders and Wisconsinites alike will wake up next Wednesday morning wondering what Michigan voters decided. In Marinette and Menominee, Aaron Taylor, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Aaron. 16 Wisconsin counties, including Brown County, will vote on November 6th regarding the use of marijuana.
Menominee. Manariet. Menominee. Wait.
They should quit seizing the weed.
Another full bag.
Quit seizing the weed.
Wisconsin should...
Let that shit go, man.
Listen, that's going to be another blowout.
They have 16 questions in Wisconsin.
16, it's on 16 ballots.
Yeah, questions.
Yeah, they've got questions. Oh, look at that.
So,
It's like
what do you
magic.
think about weed? What do you
Take
think
it
about
through this
weed?
camera and it comes in.
But yes, Daily Dope, I am super stoked. All we got to do, it's going to pass. We all know it's going to pass. And then we're all going to set about to fixing it. So just like in California, we have set about to fixing it. It's very slow moving. It's very glacial. But you know what? We've all made it this far. We'll make it to where we need to be.
Yeah, we've got the bring it or ban it provision here too in the cities, and it's happening all over the place. Sometimes they do come to Cannabis Cash.
Whatever it takes, man.
But
like Brando says, the way we made change was not beating the old way. We're showing the haters that the new way is better.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
And you guys will change it. There's so much activism and use in Michigan, like the Ed Rosenthal, who's definitely high on more than just the news at that cannabis conference. Yeah, Ernest of Gaia, the river is being heavily polluted by coal and other industries for any water protector friends. Oh, yeah, well, there's that. Got to filter your water if you're going to grow cannabis.
Yeah.
One day we'll look back on cannabis prohibition the way we look back on alcohol prohibition.
Worse, because cannabis is medicine.
Right.
Alzheimer's disease has no fucking treatment. You hear? Like really, truly no fucking treatment. Treatment.
I think that's part of the misnomer of what's going on with, recreational. A lot of the haters are saying it's just a move for recreational, just a move so people can get high. Well, who cares, first of all?
Yeah, stay out of our business.
It's medicinal. When you recreate, you medicate.
It's a true story.
You use it for reasons. You use it to get shit straight, man, to get your head straight, to get through the bullshit.
Yeah.
And not poison your body doing it. Because the bullshit, you get knocked off your disc every fucking minute. You know what helps you stay on your disc? A nice full bag of vaporized cannabis.
It's a true story. It's a true story. But really, I believe that the reason we don't have an effective treatment for the symptoms related to Alzheimer's disease is because we haven't been studying the plant that is going to lead to the medicine that helps with Alzheimer's and other related dementias.
Well, we know that's going to be done the other way.
Again.
We're gonna treat people with it, and then the science will go, maybe we should look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Is the way it's working, and that's the way it's going to keep working.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Menominee.
I just want to be
Wisconsin.
on the record, Seavaz. Cheetos never get eaten here.
Yeah, we don't eat Cheetos.
There's no Cheetos here.
We eat those vegan...
We eat Rob's Cheddar Puffs.
Rob's Cheddar Puffs.
They're vegan.
That's right.
And this is vegan also. This is my little vegan snack tonight.
And that's
tonight we have...
That's not crisp. That's the vaporizer bag.
Tonight we have Justin's cashew butter cups. I'm not going to lie. If Justin's wants to send me a case of these cashew butter cups, I will take them. So the cashew butter cups are my favorite. I love them. Dave likes the peanut butter and white chocolate, which is a shocker because he doesn't really like the white chocolate normally. But oh my god, he loves them, and I'm stoked.
I embrace a white chocolate when it's around.
And these are fantastic. Anyway,
they're great. Blaster Master,
and they're vegan.
So sorry, a neighbor died of Alzheimer's in the past year. One in 2050, 1 out of 2 people will die with dementia, some form.
Well, there are over 100 diseases that cause dementing symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's another show. Let's move on.
We did one of those this week too. Saturday. It was a busy Saturday. We did another virtual dementia tour. Just threw that in there too. I know I'm saying people judging doing things that aren't good for them, those who should not mind people medicating. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Liberté, man.
What did you call them? The fat guy? We cut that
fat fuck. No offense to fat people.
We cut that out of the one he said. You called him the fun police.
Yeah. No fun.
No fun.
No fun. He's really, really, really heavy.
Yeah.
And he's saying that other people can't do what they like to
Meanwhile, yeah, he's
obviously overindulging in something.
Something.
That's causing his metabolism to not be okay.
And what was confirmed at
Anyway, God bless him.
Is that stoners aren't actually fat. Cannabis actually helps regulate body sugar, rather blood sugar and body fat. And BMI is actually a pretty good indicator if someone is a cannabis user. I would say. Quite frankly. But we digress, sort of. Let's move on. RBU, too easy for people to grow their own medicine, which is why Big Pharma will fight hard to keep it illegal because they can't control it.
Yeah, but the horse is out of the barn now.
The house is out of the barn.
The horse is out the barn.
That's right. They're going to try to get it back in that barn. They're going
not going to happen.
They're not even going to try to get it in the barn. They're going to try to shove it into a pill.
Yeah.
But there are actually good cannabis doctors and people working on like that pill we heard about with the PEA. Being developed like an Advil. That was pretty cool.
Yes, that was a really interesting presentation. I'm excited to give it to our people when
it's available.
When the videos are available.
Yeah, we're going to be in a trial, right?
Yeah, there's a researcher doing human trials now with 5 milligrams of CBD, 100 milligrams of PEA, and something else. I can't remember what, but it wasn't anything.
It was something innocuous.
Yeah, it was something like a binder.
Yeah, it was like a binder. But the PEA is something that we've just learned about.
It's an anti-inflammatory, but usually at higher concentrations, she's saying, it has an anti-inflammatory property. But apparently with 100 milligrams potentiated with the 5 milligrams of CBD isolate, it apparently is better than like ibuprofen.
Better than ibuprofen or Advil.
So that's pretty rad because ibuprofen is also really shit for your liver.
Yeah, that's the other thing they talk about.
That's cool.
That no one talks about is that actually you're doing so much damage to your body every time you take 2 aspirin or 2 ibuprofen. You're only supposed to take 1, you know. But what I take 2, 3. Believe me, if I take 4. An Advil, it's because I need an Advil and I take a prescribed dose, which is closer to 300 milligrams or 200 milligrams. I'll take 3. Because then it's really needed. Right, exactly. 600 milligrams is but that's what they give you when you go to the hospital. So people are like popping those things like candy. No, that's what when they really give you like doses of ibuprofen in the hospital, it's 300 milligrams.
800, I think.
Or 800, even more. Yeah, it's big. They're huge. And that does amazing damage to the liver. So all of these over the counter, just because they're over the counter doesn't mean they're good for you.
Yeah.
And this plant doesn't do any of that.
None of that.
None of it.
None of that.
And PEA is interesting. We found out is one of the things that Dr. Mashalem and others doing real research call cannabinoid-like molecules or cannabinoid-like substances. So there's a number of them that people started to research when they found out about when they heard that. And this is one of them that's being researched. So, yeah. And you can buy it apparently in nutrition stores, which is fascinating. So let us continue. That was our Michigan-Wisconsin crossover because they are connected, and it's certainly in media markets. Let's see. Let's move on to. We're going into Missouri because they've got some voting to do on Missouri. They got some choices. That's where they've got some choices.
Choices. Oh, yeah, they have 3 things to choose from.
Yes. So let's talk about Missouri.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Show me.
We got 2.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
What? Show me. Ah! Wow.
Go on, baby.
Went right over my head.
Go on.
This is a hot topic, medical marijuana. It has been in recent years, and it's going to be again come Election Day, Mike. The backers of Prop C say it's long overdue that people suffering with medical conditions get easy and affordable access to medical marijuana. Now, they say Prop C provides the best situation on all fronts. Mark Cabas with Missourians for Patient Care is asking voters to pass medical marijuana. He says if people study the facts, they'll see that Proposition C is the most effective way.
We set it up to provide the best patient access.
We also set it up to have the lowest tax on cannabis because insurance doesn't cover it.
Prop C would not legalize recreational use of marijuana. There are no recreational initiatives on the ballot. Under Prop C, you would need written certification by a physician who treats a patient diagnosed with a qualifying medical condition. It would allow the growth, possession, production, and sale of medical marijuana by licensed and regulated facilities. It would place a 2% tax on the retail sale, the lowest of the initiatives, and the money generated from the tax would go straight to state veteran services.
Our initiative allows for 5 ounces a month, 2.5 ounces every 14 days.
That's the highest amount of the initiatives. Habis says it allows patients more freedom depending on their condition. The Division of Alcohol would issue licenses for dispensaries, and Department of Health and Senior Services would issue patient access cards. Some of the conditions covered are cancer, migraines, HIV, chronic pain, and seizures.
They felt that it should be legalized here in Missouri because they didn't want to travel to Colorado or California or other states that have these medical marijuana laws.
And medical marijuana is estimated to generate about $10 million annually for Missouri.
Amendment 3 is a medical marijuana amendment that will legalize medical-only marijuana and create a world-class cancer research center in the state of Missouri.
That's the pitch for Amendment 3 from the driving force behind it. Brad Bradshaw is an attorney and physician who says his motivation is to save lives by funding cancer research from the taxes generated by medical marijuana sales.
But one of the nice things about Amendment 3 is we'll actually do research on the different types of conditions to see what benefits the most from medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana is seeing strong support across Missouri, but some policymakers and editorial pages have been urging voters to support the opposing initiative, Amendment 2. That one has a lower stated tax, with the money going to the Missouri State Department of Health. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft says he's concerned about how Bradshaw's proposal would be administered by designating tax money towards one particular organization.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the concern with putting too much into the Constitution. I think the Constitution should be very simplistic, broad language.
I wouldn't be in charge of it. The board would be in charge of it. And in fact, that board will be some of the best and brightest scientists in the world, picked again by Nobel Prize winners in medicine, by deans of the medical school. So there'll be people extremely bright who will be running this, and preferably them over politicians. We know the politicians don't know how to handle the money very well.
State Representative Shamed Dogan, who has pushed for lawmakers to pass medical marijuana, says he has concerns too.
It actually writes one person into the Constitution to control that. So I think that's a very dangerous precedent to be setting.
People think that I'm going to make money off of this, and it's actually written into the constitutional amendment that the person who serves in the spot where I would be is temporary and unpaid.
Bradshaw claims that the opposing initiative, Amendment 2, is a pathway towards recreational marijuana use, primarily because of the home grow aspect. His, Amendment 3, he says is purely medical.
It needs to pass if you believe, one, in medical marijuana and not recreational, and two, do you want to see cures for cancer? Amendment 3 will also create 10,000 plus new jobs and will bring billions of dollars to the state of Missouri.
Patients in need of.
So, show me state got a choice.
Show me Amendment 2.
Show me state's got 3 possibilities, 2 amendments to their constitution, which is pretty heavy, and then a proposition C, which could be changed down the road. Now, we're happy things can be changed in Michigan.
Yeah.
So that's is it, how good is Prop C? Now, I've heard good things about Amendment 3, as far as I'm concerned, is off the block.
Yeah. Please pass the water.
Sure. There's too much. He's got. I don't know. For some reason, this guy's got too much vested in that. He's got too much in this, and it's unchangeable. And the same with Amendment 2. I guess it's an amendment to the Constitution as well. Oh, here, watch this. I'll use my royal blunt towel.
For a mop down?
For a mop down.
Up? For a mop up of the wet?
I need a budget. For, you can go to Patreon.
No.
And, for a small donation, I can have a makeup A makeup person.
Not really.
No. We can get a better computer and a better network.
Yeah.
That's what it'd be. Not really.
Quieter air conditioner.
So three.
Whoa.
So three possibilities in Missouri. What do you guys think? I'm feeling like Amendment 2 is the way to go.
I think Amendment 2 is the way.
I believe Rick Steves, had said something about Amendment 2. I believe I read that somewhere that he thinks that's the way to go.
I think he was campaigning for it.
I think he was campaigning for it.
I think we saw that on the show.
Or it might have been, was it the North Dakota law that he's been making the rounds, as he always does, to help support cannabis.
Love that he's so out of the closet about cannabis.
And speaking of North Dakota, let's get into a news from Valley News Live about news weeding out of medical marijuana applicants. Good use of pun.
We love that.
In North Dakota.
Where we were punny aunt and uncle.
And we'll turn the air conditioner back on.
Yes, I'm dying.
It's getting hot in here.
Play that story. Come on.
Patients in need of medical marijuana can start applying today, according to the North Dakota Department of Health. It's also accepting applications for designated caregivers to dispense it. But just how accessible will the cannabis be? Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz asks medical professionals as well as those behind the measure and has our story.
Back in 2014, Riley Ray Morgan, a financial advisor in Fargo, began his grassroots efforts to legalize grass.
I had some back issues and I went to Germany and had a disc replacement surgery that didn't go well.
2 years later, Measure 5 to legalize medicinal marijuana passed. But now, 2 years after that,
I think most everybody was very disappointed on the inaction, not only by the legislature, but by the State Department of Health.
But finally, as of Monday, North Dakotans can now apply to be eligible for medicinal marijuana. But just how easy will it be for them to get it? Morgan says it won't be.
You know, I think there are medical doctors out there that would grant their patients to get medical cannabis cards. However, the powers that be, where they're employed, I think are holding them back.
What makes you say that?
I've heard of people from all over the state basically have talked to their doctors and they said absolutely not, because, Sanford or Essentia has basically said we're not going to allow you to do this. Because if something should go wrong, they might have some liability issues there.
I reached out to the hospitals as well as many independent doctors in the area and got nothing back. The North Dakota Department of Health says with the application, you'll need not a prescription from a doctor, but a certificate. So what exactly does that mean?
On a prescription, it's going to have the exact medication. It's going to have an amount. Those types of items are not found on the written certification form.
Instead, doctors will be asked to simply identify the patient's debilitating condition requiring the medicinal marijuana and how long they would need it for. But Morgan says it's not just as easy as finding a doctor who will fill your prescription.
Technically, you're supposed to be a patient for 1 year before this doctor can allow you to apply for a medical cannabis card.
One last hurdle, Morgan says doctors and LPNs can prescribe medical cannabis, but the legislature leaves out physician's assistants. In Fargo, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
The North Dakota Department of Health says it will now start processing applications, but probably will not start printing cards until at least mid-December, closer to when the product is available. For more on the requirements to apply, as well as where dispensaries will be located, head to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on this story.
Missourians.
So your Fargo over there can get your medical pot.
Ohio is.
You're going to be able to get your pot.
As you
North
should.
Dakota.
Hey.
And you're going to be able to get the money there from a public bank, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
They've got to thank you for that information, Ernest of Gaia, that North Dakota has a public bank.
Love
yes,
that.
on Prop B in Los Angeles, we're going to have one too. Full bag.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Love it.
So you can find PEA, this amino acid, on Amazon.
Oh, it's an amino acid?
Yeah.
They say?
Palmitoylphthalolamide.
So what you're saying, a little of that, what is the ratio of CBD to PEA again?
Well, the lady was using 5 milligrams. The scientist, the doctor, was using 5 milligrams of CBD and 100 milligrams of PEA and some other thing.
Something else to make the
that
pill.
I wrote down.
Right.
Wrote it down.
And they're doing a trial on it there. They want people to join in, right? That's
yeah,
in
I gave her
California?
my name, my
cool.
card, but
You can make it yourself.
I don't think she appreciated my
PEA
fascinator.
and CBD.
Yeah, I don't think she appreciated my fascinator.
Really?
She was very doctory.
Are you kidding me? Your fascinator's awesome.
I know, but
It's a
not
cult.
very straight. It's very kind of creative.
So to wrap up our legislative roundup in the Midwest, thanks to the good folks over at NORML, they are, of course, supporting Prop 1 in Michigan, Amendment 2 in Missouri, and Ballot Measure 3 in North Dakota, and in Utah, yes, on Prop 2. Those are the ones that they are endorsing. So thank you, NORML, for helping us out on those. If you're unsure about which one to go for in Missouri, there you go. Amendment 2, we were feeling correct on that one. Holy cow, what's that word? Oh, PEA? Is that the first part of PEA?
I wish you could spell it in English in a way I could understand.
Wolfsplant. Can you
I know it's not
spell
German.
it in English, please?
I know that's
We're
how
very
it's
confused.
spelled, but I
PEA.
can't say it. So
All right. Well, it's a cannabinoid-like substance, which is fascinating. I didn't know. Well, they're growing it from yeast, so I suppose so. Let's move on
I'm trying very hard to say it still.
Let's move on to Ohio. We're going to take a little jump into Ohio.
I think the FICO I took before the show is kicking in.
It's kicking in? I blew Dream before the
I'm
show.
getting a little-
It's definitely kicking
I'm getting a little giddy.
I think the Blue Dream got me through my headline
Freak out.
hash.
You were freaking out before the
Through
show.
my headline hash. Well, I don't want to get into it.
Never mind. Go on.
I have a very tight time schedule
Go on.
in the last half an hour before the show.
Give me the bag, would you?
Here, I'm sorry. I'm
You're
bogarting the bag.
Move on to another story. would
DC
you,
Bogarts the bag. That's a new segment. You guys are hilarious. All right, let's go. Let's go into Ohio. There's some kind of a story from News 5 in Ohio. This is a new facility. I don't know why we usually don't do these stories, but there must be something cool about it, or it's the only story from Ohio. So let's check it out.
Ohio is slowly getting ready to make medical marijuana available. Just yesterday, a company that processes raw marijuana into medical cannabis started its expansion. And only the E-Team's Kevin Barry explains why that company down near Columbus was ready for Ohio's industry in a way few others are.
We've already taken you inside some of Ohio's cultivation facilities where raw cannabis is grown. Someday soon, that raw cannabis will come to a facility like this one and go through a machine like this one, turning from marijuana to medicine. Inside Apex Supercritical's facility in Johnstown, the metalwork and programming done here has been used in the marijuana industry for years, but in other states.
We manufacture equipment that's utilized by the cannabis industry.
Andy Joseph is the president of Apex, and he's the CEO of Ohio Grown Therapies, a separate company which has been awarded one of Ohio's medical marijuana processor licenses. Apex makes these machines, which uses carbon dioxide to extract oils from marijuana plants for medicine. Andy says that's why it made sense to start Ohio Grown Therapies and become involved with Ohio's medical cannabis industry from the start.
That's when we said, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to become not only an equipment manufacturer, but also a processor.
The company will make active ingredients for products like edibles and gel capsules with cannabis.
And then this is good, clean oil with a nice viscosity. That would be really good for going straight into a vape pen.
Ohio Grown Therapies just broke ground this week. They expect to be shipping out their first medical marijuana products by the middle of April. In Johnstown, I'm Kevin Barry for the E-Team.
And the processing is just one step in getting medical marijuana to you. Once Ohio Grown Therapies produces products, they'll be tested at state labs before reaching any dispensary shelves and then patients in our state.
5:50. Say it.
Palmitoylethanolamide.
Ooh.
Palmitoylethanolamide.
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 Palmitolethanomide.
Yeah, palmitolethanomide.
It's a cannabinoid type substance.
It is.
I'm sorry, that's not the way you spell Apex, but that's why that story's in there. Apex is one of the, if not the top
premier oil maker,
and we know the guy who designs
Ernest of Gaia.
Their machines.
If I move to Oregon, can I make $20 an hour working in the cannabis space?
Doesn't matter.
Trimming and making oil?
Doesn't matter, because it's $50 a pound for your weed.
No, but Ernest is saying that, Ernest of Gaia is saying $20 an hour in Oregon to make all that.
You know, I don't know what the going rate is there, but they've been trimming a lot of weed.
That's a living wage. I'm just saying, that's a living wage.
You know, I don't know the labor issues in this new space. Traditionally, in the old space, have always been sort of sketchy.
They have been, but you know what? There are 6 trimmers sitting in a room right now listening to us.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what their work experience is like. Are they happy? Are they comfortable? Do they get the breaks they need? Are they in the shade?
Do you have to work
topless? Are they warm enough? Do you have to work topless? Is it creepy? Is it all dudes? Is it very white? What's it like?
These are the questions we have. And you'll be able to call in to Reefer Revolution in our last hour of our show. We're going to do call-ins. I don't know if we're going to do it tonight, but
no, it's already the last hour of our show.
Wait, it's already the last hour of the show, and we got to work out these network issues. Let's continue. $20 an hour. Yeah, I'd take $20.
Even as a trimmer, Ernest of Gaia is saying.
Nice.
I'd like to take a trip up to Oregon and do a little
experiment.
No, I'd like to do a Cannabis Saves the World segment on working in the cannabis space.
I'd like to meet a bunch of people up in Oregon that we've come across on our show here on Reefer Revolution here at DC 420 LA. Subscribe, get notifications, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and all the other socials. And we'll be expanding more socials as we blow up another bag from the Air Riser HQ. We're going to get into our next story. We've got one more story about Iowa. Let's see what's going on.
In Nebraska and Iowa, parents have been fighting for years to allow their children who have seizures and other neurological problems to have legal access to cannabis oil.
Dispensaries like one in Council Bluffs are set to open soon. Senior reporter Jake Wazakowski traveled to Des Moines today, where it is a landmark day.
It's the first legal cannabis manufacturer in Iowa. MedFarm Iowa commemorates an historic day as they grow and extract CBD and THC for medical use. There are currently 8 qualifying conditions, but citizens will have to get a medical card before it's available for purchase in less than a month.
One of the fears all along was, well, if we bring this to the state, something bad will happen. And we've gone to great lengths to make sure that is not the case.
Parents and advocates say their persistence paid off.
It's incredible. Life-changing medicine right there in front of me, finally.
Erin Bowman says her 6-year-old son has a rare disorder where he has autism, epilepsy, and ADHD. Her son's been able to legally use medical cannabis in Iowa since 2014, but couldn't purchase it in the state.
We've been able to wean him off all his pharmaceutical drugs for his seizures, cognition improvement. He's learning how to use an iPad. He's in an inclusive classroom in kindergarten. Those are all things that wouldn't have happened without medical cannabis. It changed his life.
She's had to drive 14 hours to Colorado to purchase it. Erin says seeing the drug that helps her son so much so close to home is comforting and a long time coming.
So before the dispensaries came here, we would have to risk federal prosecution, crossing state lines through Nebraska, and worrying about if I'm going to get arrested and what happens to my child if I get into trouble. So being able to have that here is life-changing for me, to not have to have that stress on top of raising a child with such a rare disease.
And here's a look at the product, from capsules to oils as well as lotions with varying CBD to THC ratios. They will be distributed to the dispensaries by December 1st, all 5 of them throughout the state, as well as in the one in Council Bluffs and Sioux City. Reporting from Des Moines, Jake Wazakowski, 3 News Now.
MedFarm Iowa says they will push to expand the approved medical conditions and to allow more than 3% THC in products during the next legislative session.
Some
What happened to the sound?
So there you go. Moms in Iowa getting meds.
It's a very divisive.
Always the kids and the cures that really help sway politicians.
Oh, yeah.
And doctors.
Because it's all about the kids. Don't protect the children. Protect the children.
Yeah.
What is the blurb this week from on Civilized about Weed the People? If you're really concerned about children with cancer, why aren't you looking at everything?
Yeah.
Says director Abby Epstein. So it's all about the children. We're going to play a bunch of the in the afterburn when we would be taking calls in the future. We're going to play some more of these political ads and some of the other the political commercials that have been running, because they have been flooding the airwaves. And of course, we've been playing those in their own words about marijuana in Indiana and in Kentucky, in Kentucky. So we're going to play those in the afterburn for you, so you can watch those. No real news coming out of Alabama this week, Bonnie Lee. But I can, if you give us I can help you out with how Normal is suggesting folks to vote on Tuesday. If we know what district you're in, I can look that up for you. Doesn't look like there's any pending legislation with regards to decriminalization or legalization that are happening, as far as I've heard or can see. But it does look like the
Jefferson County, babe.
Jefferson County. Okay,
Jefferson
I'll do
County.
a little research on that while we take a look at this. We move into our next block, which will do the South.
Here we go. We're going to do some
we'll
South.
look up and find out what Normal says about Jefferson County as we move into our southern block. And of course, we will start with a story in good old. Just can't help it.
He'll enjoy Oklahoma's wide open spaces. He loves to run and run.
A lot of opportunity here in Oklahoma.
A hot topic in our state, also creating a lot of new jobs. The medical marijuana industry just beginning, meaning there is a ton of money to be made. Only on 2, I sit down with a husband and wife team determined to make it big in Oklahoma's newest business.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please sign this so we can get that shipped out? After 18 years in the medical field, Liz Dobson is now working for a brand new medical marijuana operation. She was hired by 2 local entrepreneurs.
We've actually only been here for a month, so we're still pretty new in this facility.
Cynthia Paul told me that she and her husband Chip launched their business operation in a small industrial park in Owasso. Their companies do research, licensing, manufacturing, and distribution.
That product down there called Relieved is My Saving Grace.
Provide products labeled for other companies to sell.
CBD shops, chiropractor clinics, doctor's offices.
They're also making herbal and CBD products.
So we take our raw cranberry seed oil and heat it up, and then we dissolve basically the CBDs in this oil.
The 4th company they're starting up will test and develop products for growers and other processors.
To find out the efficacy, the THC, the CBD content, which is going to be really important.
They already have 16 employees. The business of weed growing like that nickname.
Arguably, we will develop somewhere between a $40 million and a $100 million industry almost overnight.
From entry-level clerks to chemists to executives, this former statistical analyst turned entrepreneur sees more jobs opening up as the industry expands.
Right now in Oklahoma, it's not quite legal to put THC in products yet because no plants have come to maturity.
He expects that green light by the end of November, early December, as growers and dispensaries like this one in Fairfax offer up their first crop. In the meantime, they'll keep growing their business, 1 employee at a time.
And if we can really roll out this industry in a very responsible, respectful way, I think we can change a lot of minds.
Already, medical marijuana has brought in $5.7 million in revenue to the state. Oklahomans turned in just under 13,500 applications for patient, caregiver, dispensary, grower, and processor licenses. The state's going to use all that money to support the implementation of the licensing program.
We're glad you're with us tonight. A local store was overwhelmed by the turnout for a medical marijuana growing class. They say the interest in growing the plant in Oklahoma is staggering. News 9's Kaylee Bourgeois is in the newsroom with the story.
Lisa, the plant supply store we went to today opened in reaction to the passage of State Question 788. The owners say from what they can tell, the market for growing medical marijuana is huge, but people still have plenty of questions.
But soil is going to be a lot easier for beginners.
Redbud Hydroponics opened soon after State Question 788 passed. Owner Christiana Hayes says they sell everything needed for patients to grow their own medical marijuana.
We have noticed a huge variety. We have people that come in that have never grown before, don't know anything about the plant.
What about the flower? It'll be 40 to 60.
Constant questions from new customers prompted Hayes to host a free growing class today. The interest was so high, Hayes had to split it up into 2 classes.
We were very surprised. We didn't think we were going to get this big of a turnout.
If your plants are not pH right, they're not going to take nutrients.
Almost everyone attending preferred not to be on camera, but the room was full, as metro area farmer Ben Shones shared his knowledge of the plant.
Right now, they're still up in the air with dispensaries. Prices are high, so it's cheaper to get a home grow. You know exactly what's going into your medicine.
Shones compares the plant to a tomato. He advises students to be patient and pay for the right supplies, but he says the inquiries are endless.
We get all kinds of questions about where can I build, what can I build, how many plants, just anything and everything.
It basically takes soil out of the aspect.
Hayes hopes to keep answering these questions. After all, as the demand for growing grows, her business only gets better. Hayes says they plan to host additional growing classes, eventually 1 a month. In the newsroom, Kaylee Bourgeois, News 9.
Holy cow, tons of new people jumping in the chat. Welcome,
medical
everybody. I support medical marijuana too, James DeWeezy. You'll be in the afterburn. Just hold your horses there in Kentucky. District House 50. We're talking about Alabama, Congressional District 7. For Bonnie Lee, apparently that is Terry Sewell, a Democrat who is running unopposed in Alabama's 7th Congressional District, which includes Jefferson County. And she's a Democrat and has a D from the normal, running unopposed. But Bonnie Lee, I think you need to run for office.
Yeah, Bonnie Lee.
I think you need to run for
Get some shit done. Get some shit done.
That is bullshit.
That's total bullshit. If I were to run for office, I would start a monthly gathering event. Perhaps a poetry slam or something that would draw lots of people to come. And I say poetry slam because it's super easy.
Are you talking about in Alabama?
Anywhere.
Oh, anywhere, okay.
Anywhere, Alabama, any place. Yes, right. I would make a monthly gathered event where people would come all the time, and I would start that immediately in December. Once a month, you gather, and you give $100 away to the #1 poet.
Oh, we did that before.
We totally did that. But it gets you really well known in the community, and then you can act on issues that are important to you, if nothing else. And if it's super successful and you feel like it, you can run for office. Just saying.
Totally.
Anyway.
Hey, RBU. Chela says, Chela and Reefer Revolution, ever given thought to doing a super chat to help fund your hard work? I have given that a thought, and YouTube's given it a thought too. They won't let us.
Oh, right.
Our kid channel is demonetized because of its content. They'd never let us monetize any of our videos because of the content. And yet corporate cannabis will, if I show a video and it's like from a big corporate company,
Mary Jane,
even cannabis company,
Civilized,
they'll like throw like, "Oh, that's our
High
stuff.
Times.
We're copyright," and they get to monetize their stuff.
Also,
so even though it's fair use,
big companies can make money, but small little mom and pops or auntie and uncles can't.
Same story.
Just checking.
It's still happening with the media. MedMen is creating their own media stream, their own media outlet.
True story.
So, in addition to everything else, in addition to going to be
trying to
no one's going to be able
cannabis.
no one's going to be able to say the word cannabis if MedMen has their way.
Don't be silly.
We'll have to change the name of our channel again. Holy
no.
crap! With the answer to the CBD question, I'd like to answer some of the questions here in the chat that are coming through. It's great to have them. Thank you all. Where was that question? Oh, here it is. That was from The question was, can you ship CBD?
Yeah, can you ship CBD? Ernest of Gaia.
Ernest of Gaia. Can y'all fact check that CBD hemp can be shipped U.S. wide now or with Farm Bill? The 2014 Farm Bill set the precedent for these folks that allowed them to believe that hemp CBD would be kosher. The way it's written, it actually does say that it should be fine, but the DEA is being persnickety about it. They think it's still Schedule 1. Now, the Farm Bill of 2018 is being stalled, not because of hemp. Everybody's on board that, and that will be one that once that's signed into law, industrial hemp will be taken off of the Schedule 1, off the CSA, and every state can choose to create a industrial hemp program and ship it across the nation because it will be descheduled. That should include anything that comes from that plant, including oils of the CBD nature. Therefore, with the precedent being set with the FDA and the DEA rescheduling cannabidiol for big pharma, we can certainly argue that because of industrial hemp is removed from the CSA, that the products coming from that, because right now the way it's worded is the seed, fiber, and consumable oils, drinkable oils, edible oils are not covered by the controlled substance. So CBD needs to be cannabidiol, not CBDs. Just because they wear a white cloak doesn't mean they know anything. It's CBD and cannabinoids. But once they, this moves through and the Farm Bill moves through, so many people are going to want to make more oil and sell these CBD products, cannabidiol products across the country, that you will probably see more rescheduling of that, of the product from there for sure. Now, with regards to rescheduling on a larger level with the medicinal hemp, the kind of stuff they're growing in Kentucky and in Colorado, which would, I guess, become legal under the new Farm Bill. More states could do that. I also saw that there's a possibility of them increasing it from 0.3 to 0.6, which would be interesting as well. So lots of action happening on hemp and CBD. Long answer, but there are still plenty of companies shipping CBD, okay to ship across the country products into homes and nutrition shops and all kinds of places until a local cop gets all persnickety about it and raids it under local jurisdiction, and then they have to apologize for their mistake. But as far as shipping it federally, I haven't heard really any issues with those specific products. A lot of those companies have covered their ass. So,
yeah, but I do believe that our friends who have Haley Soap ship to all 50 states.
Right. And
I do
Charlotte's
believe
Web,
that our other friends who
I think does.
Our Holy Cannabis Oil also ship to all 50 states.
So,
I think, oh no, maybe not. I think they don't. I'm working around it. The oils that are like 20 to 1, 30 to 1, if it's got any THC in it on those levels, that's over the Farm Bill. If that's the question. Well, yeah.
If it's a CBD isolate, if it's a CBD only, a lot of these companies, the CBD water companies that are coming up, they're using these isolates that are manufactured in a lab and or isolated completely without any THC in them, or in a lot of these other supplements made from hemp or Chinese. The problem is a lot of these companies, other than Haley's Hope, that are making it from true Colorado medicinal hemp that falls underneath under the law. But even that, it's tricky. You can't. If you wait too long to harvest, you may blow your test, because they test, right? Am I correct on this? Haley's Hope, Daily Dope. They test in these states, and the way they test is they take a cola off the top and they take it in, and that's, you leave it. If you don't harvest right and you leave it out there in the field, even this low THC medicinal high resin plant, you might blow your test and be too much THC. So they got to be conscious of that.
That'd be bad.
It's tricky biz even for the Haley's Hope people and those guys that are doing it with the good hemp laws in Kentucky and in Colorado. That's why those guys got good stuff. You get stuff from Colorado, you're getting good stuff. You get stuff from Kentucky, you're getting good stuff. If you're getting it from Canada, that's a lot of Chinese hemp. I'd avoid the hemp stuff altogether at this point. But
yeah, there are some people who feel like that's their only option. So
and it works for people. And is it a placebo effect? Well, that doesn't matter. Who cares?
I think
is it real?
Yeah, I think everybody's got to find their own way. And if that's the way that you got to find your way, then find your way.
And that's the way you can
you
get it.
Do you.
I mean, in the movie Weed to People, you saw how this mother is, getting stuff they're obviously made with isopropyl alcohol.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Not even food grade solvents.
Well, yeah, but that was a total charlatan that she was hooked up with. It was terrible.
So you gotta know your source. In this, especially in this day and age.
Let's move on.
We're out of the southern block and we're into our eastern block, our final block of the night.
Block to the east, to the west.
So let's a couple of stories coming out of the east. We're going to start up in Maine. We don't get a lot of stories out of Maine, so we've got one about some action up there. So let's take a look. If it'll start. The network will let it through.
Here? Patricia Rossi's 4 medical marijuana dispensaries, all part of Wellness Connection of Maine, already serve about 6,000 patients. But she hopes to serve even more people, thousands more, when retail marijuana stores open up.
Allowing folks to be able to legally purchase this really provides access to a wider range of consumers.
Question 1 on the legalization of recreational marijuana here in Maine, right now too close to call.
In November 2016, Mainers narrowly passed marijuana legalization, opening up the door for marijuana to be sold as easily as alcohol or cigarettes. Now, 2 years after that vote, Rossi's still waiting. Are you losing money on this waiting?
No, I'm not losing money, but it's frustrating because you're ready and then you have almost over capacity compared to what you're using.
So until May, we didn't have actual legislation enacted. So
Alec Porteous is the commissioner for the Department of Administrative and Financial Services, the ones who will be giving out those marijuana licenses to store owners.
You've got a big change to Maine law. We're standing up something for which there isn't a federal framework. There are a few states that have done it, but we're still out there on the frontier.
After months of back and forth and a veto from Governor Paul LePage, the legislature passed this 82-page plan, setting up the framework for how to regulate retail marijuana. But there's even more work to do. This office must now come up with rules for things like licensing, packaging, and photo IDs.
But ultimately, the legislature needs to approve those rules.
One day, pot stores could open up right in the shadow of the State House here in Augusta. That's if the moratorium here is lifted. There have been about a dozen inquiries about opening up pot stores here in Maine, and that 12 is for Augusta alone.
So you know it's a complex path.
From Rockland to Biddeford, Portland to Sanford, nearly every southern Maine city has seen some interest from people asking about licenses to open up shop. But because the state has no rules yet, and there's no way to file an application for those licenses, retail marijuana is basically on hold.
Municipalities are realizing that it's on them, and they're trying to organize, and they were caught a little bit by surprise by the amount of applicants that are already applying.
The state hopes to have rules in place by the end of next year. Even so, Rossi is ready to wait, even if...
At the worst-case scenario, you're looking at the first quarter of 2021.
Either way, with a tax on marijuana sales and a lot of interest, the outlook never looked greener. I'm David Charnes, WMTW News 8.
The Cannabis Control Commission is taking extra precautions to keep cannabis products from appealing to children. 22 News reporter Jody Reed is in Boston, where she found out dispensaries are already on board.
At Thursday's Cannabis Control Commission meeting, one dispensary proposed the idea of selling marijuana-infused cake pops, which resulted in a lengthy conversation about how to keep them out of the hands of children. Cake-based lollipops are something many children recognize and love, so Cannabis Control Commissioners were concerned when an Attleboro-based dispensary proposed the idea of pot-infused cake pops. The CCC currently prohibits edibles in the distinct shape of a human, animal, or fruit. Edible marijuana products also cannot resemble fictional characters or cartoons. The CCC has these provisions in place to make sure marijuana products don't end up in the hands of children. Western Massachusetts-based dispensary INSA said those regulations are not a problem.
So we made sure none of our edible products would be appealing towards children. We use very plain shapes. All of our hard candies and chews are in the shape of a cube.
The CCC will start a database of marijuana-infused products approved for sale in Massachusetts so that regulators, consumers, parents, and law enforcement can get a sense of what type of products are out there. Most Massachusetts dispensaries take the CCC's enhanced precautions one step further by using child-proof containers to store and sell edible products. At the State House in Boston, Jody Reed, 22 News.
Well, here we go. Legal marijuana sales in Massachusetts are now just a matter of days away. The state's approved 2 labs that can test pot products, which means that retail stores can now submit their marijuana, have it tested, and then start selling it.
So joining us now is the CEO of Sierra Naturals, a marijuana business based here in Massachusetts. Michael Dundas, thank you so much for coming back in.
Thanks so much for having me back.
Always good to see you. Sierra Naturals has medical marijuana dispensaries, a cultivation facility in Milford where you actually grow some of this stuff. And there are 2 retail shops right now, one in Leicester, one in Northampton, that could be open soon. How soon before someone is going to be able to walk into one of those 2 stores, which will be the first 2 to open, and buy marijuana legally?
That's a great question. We think it's going to be just a short matter of days, possibly a week. At the most, I'd say 2 weeks away.
Wow.
Now, of course, hanging over all of this issue is the federal government, what the federal government will do. The U.S. Attorney here in Massachusetts has threatened to prosecute people for selling marijuana, although, as you pointed out, he has sort of backed off that, said it won't really be a priority. Does that give all of you in the industry some pause?
I would say that we're looking at a couple of different things here. So we have a broad movement in the United States to legalize cannabis, both for medicinal and for recreational purposes. Cannabis is technically in the Controlled Substances Act under Schedule 1, which means it's one of the most dangerous drugs known to man. We think that we're going to probably see some movement in the federal government at some point in the near future, and there's a couple of options they could take. First, they could do what's called deschedule, which would be take it out of the scheduling system altogether. The second thing they might do is reschedule, which would take it from Schedule 1 and put it into a Schedule 2 or 3.
Which, by the way, Schedule 2 is where cocaine and meth are.
Yes, that's correct. And there's a third avenue, a piece of legislation known as the States Act, which was introduced by Senator Warren from here in Massachusetts, Senator Cory Gardner from Colorado, which essentially says that if you operate in a state that has a recreational or medical marijuana regulatory process, that the Controlled Substances Act simply doesn't apply.
And you read our minds, because we wanted to ask you about the States Act, proposed again by Elizabeth Warren, the Massachusetts senator here. Do you support that idea of saying, as long as it's legal in the state, the federal government cannot come in and prosecute you for it?
We do support that. We think it's a good middle road. It allows for states that have not supported cannabis legalization to keep those regimes intact, but it allows for states that have decided to serve as laboratories of democracy to move forward without federal threat.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Schedule 1, heroin is also a Schedule 1 drug. Do you really support trying to advocate for that change? Do you think it's realistic? Do you see it happening in the near future?
I think there were a number of reasons why in the 1970s cannabis was listed in Schedule 1. I think we have, there was not a lot of research, not a lot of support for that decision, and so I think it's difficult to it's simply difficult to get the legislation to get it rescheduled. So we support, again, the States Act. We think it's an elegant solution to a complicated problem, and that's the way we feel.
Tell us about the next steps here. Right now, you have a cultivation license. You have to get one of, depending on, you can get a license to grow, you can get a license to process it, manufacture it, and then you can get a license to sell it retail. You have 2 medical marijuana dispensaries. You have 3, in fact. You're planning on taking 2 of them and making them recreational. What are the steps a business owner like you has to do between that, having a medical marijuana dispensary, and opening it as a retail for recreational marijuana?
The first step in the process is you've got to get local buy-in. So we operate in the communities of Cambridge and Somerville. So we reach out to the community. We let them know, hey, we have this medical marijuana dispensary here. We'd like to sell adult use, recreational cannabis as well. And we look to them for zoning. We look to them for licensure. We'll probably engage in an independent local licensing process at the local level. If we're fortunate enough to get approved at the local level, we would then apply to the Cannabis Control Commission at the state level for a retail license for those locations.
Let me just ask, as a parent, of course, as you say, it's adult use marijuana, but now here we are.
Here we go.
And
As a parent.
places are going to be open.
As a parent.
Things can be sold. What should parents say to their kids?
I think that it's important for all parents.
Get high and have a good time.
Organizations like ours to educate folks as to what is appropriate and what is not appropriate for cannabis use. Obviously, 21 plus, that's what's appropriate in terms of an age limit as determined by the voters of Massachusetts and the legislature. And also, of course, it's important not to get behind the wheel. There are sort of common sense rules that we can teach folks who are our customers, parents can teach to their kids. And I think that one of the ways that Sierra Naturals as an organization likes to get out ahead of issues like that is to provide education broadly. We sponsored a public service announcement, for example, warning of underage use and the dangers of driving while intoxicated.
Voters in Massachusetts made marijuana legal in 2016. There's a new Gallup poll showing 2/3 of Americans now support legalization. You've been part of this process from the beginning. Have you seen voters' opinions change over time? Even you said you've been working on this for 5 years now.
You know, it's really interesting. I have. And in the early days, in 2013, 2014, when we were looking to get medical marijuana licensed, the main pushback we had from the local municipalities was, hey, not in my backyard, not in my town. I don't like medical marijuana. Today, we've seen a shift. Folks are trying to get adult use recreational marijuana licenses, and the first thing opponents will say to adult use is, hey, we're fully supportive of medical. We're just not in favor of adult use. I think we sort of see the step-by-step progression, and I think it'll continue.
We've come along. Well, as it all gets underway, no matter where you stand on the issue, I know everyone wants it to go well and safely. So Mike Dundas from Sierra Naturals, thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much.
I hope it's safe, whatever it is. It's done safely. Must be done safe.
For the children.
For the children. There was one story before Halloween and one story after Halloween that involved
the candy.
The guys, the man warning about candy, and then there was one story about one kid who sister noticed he was sleepy and just thought it was because he's having a pain. He was really tired, so I took him in and he's tested positive for THC.
Why did he take him to the hospital for being sleepy?
And
why don't you just let them take a nap?
Didn't even have to watch the story to know that the kid had the best night's sleep of his life and got sent home from the hospital and everything was fine.
Expensive.
But and the thing that really was the dead giveaway, I think, in the story. We're not even playing it because we don't play those stories anymore.
No, screw that. We don't need that.
They're ridiculous. But the 18-year-old sister was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe he was. I'm like, think they'll protest too much. Methinks your brother got into your little ear candy, or you gave it to him, or accidentally, and you're just like, trying to make up for it. But yes, nobody gives away Halloween candy edibles. Doesn't happen. But protect the children, for God's sake. Limit those shapes. If you make it a penis or breast shape, that's an adult shape?
It is an adult shape.
Wouldn't that be legal? That's not appealing to kids. I don't know.
Okay.
But
next story.
So Mass, you're saying Mass is terrible. When will it happen? Brian, are you asking about Massachusetts? Because that looks like that's going to happen in like the next couple of weeks. Supposed to be on the shelves. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to run out of this legal weed on day 2 or 3, as they did in Canada, and the traditional local market will flourish. So Brian Mendoca, Mass grower, is that what you are? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And continue and let us know next week or next couple weeks how it's going and how it rolls out. We love to have grower reporters in states. We have grower and caregiver and all kinds of folks checking in, and we're going to start. As I say, we do this for the love, but it has sort of taken on a life of its own, and we are in what those in the parlance would call expansion mode. And we do want to make this show better and better. And YouTube will not let us monetize. Facebook will not let us advertise. I can't spend Steam or Lino blockchain. I ended up I've got like 0.00000 Bitcoin or something, 6 Bitcoin. So there is a Bitcoin. You want to bid Bitcoin, you can. There's a link at the top of the channel. There's also a Patreon link. I did create a Patreon because I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to give money to YouTube anyway. It's like usury, man. They rape these people for these kids to make money, for these people that are trying to make money on YouTube. They limit them. They hide them. They don't give notifications. They don't let them advertise. They take down their channels. They when you can monetize, they take 25% of it in a super chat. Come on. I mean, that's bullshit.
25%?
25% is what they take out of a super chat.
Holy shit, that
So
sucks.
Patreon seems to be a reasonable.
We're on D-Live, Mother Nature.
We are on D-Live.
Yeah.
They moved over to the Steam.
We can't monetize because it's cannabis.
We can't monetize because it's cannabis. That's correct.
Because our subject matter is cannabis. On Facebook, I can't boost any posts.
No.
Even though they ask me all the time to boost the post, and then I'll fall for it. And then they'll be like, "Oh, you can't boost this post. It's about cannabis." I'm like,
Right.
"Hello, it's called Cannabis
they
Saves
bait
the
you in. It's
World."
like, more people are boosting posts like this. I'm like, no, they're not. And that was our story this last week that was talking about how, Facebook has opened up to cannabis now that it's legal in Canada. To corporate fucking cannabis they have.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers. Because I tried to change my username on Facebook. We created a Cannabis Saves the World. I'm sorry, I'm so harsh. Cannabis Saves the World. But I tried to change it on Facebook, the username to Cannabis Saves, and they're like, "Ooh, you can't use that word on our platform." Literally. Reefer was okay, but they couldn't use the word cannabis on even though they'll let me title the page that, they wouldn't let me make the username. And you still can't find pages with cannabis in it. So that's horseshit. It's horseshit. They're just trying to get
it's true. Russian cannabis, Vaz. It's true. It's totally the Russians.
It's the Russians.
This I actually believe is the Russians.
This is why I know Rohrbacher is not a Russian stooge. Unless if he changes his position on cannabis immediately, then I know he's in Russia's pocket. But Russians hate cannabis.
That makes me think that maybe the Russians aren't on Trump's side because Trump is actually kind of okay with cannabis.
Well,
anyway, I'm sorry, I'm digressing. I'm going to fuck up the chat now.
We'll see if the mooch is right. Yes, Facebook is the cancer of society, and I'm just literally we're trying to expand the channel. We're trying to get more viewers, which is growing every week on YouTube.
You guys, last week we had 1,000 views on Facebook.
On the Facebook page, yeah. So the new Facebook page. So so maybe they are letting up a little bit. If you guys do, if you want to do a Patreon thing, you're more than welcome. We are going to probably try to find some real sponsoring, some real benefactors to try to, I don't know. We'll address
the mobile studio. I want to get that.
I like the Sling Studio. Facebook has been showing me that in my feed
well,
almost
that
every day.
We could do a GoFundMe for, I bet.
But yeah, the Sling Studio
is this
GoFundMe
for that.
Mobile. You can set up webcams and HD cams, up to 10 of them. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
It's in a backpack. And
in a backpack.
And we could take that on the road and go to do our show from Portland and from
all
Oregon,
of our friends'
all over the place.
places.
So that would be pretty cool.
That would be so rad.
And fiber. I'll get fiber installed up here into the cabin so we can get a network. So that's where we're at. We are definitely going to expand the show. We're enjoying making our own comments and content. We do comment on the news because we think it's important to see how the mainstream media is handling cannabis and how it's being put out there to the public. So we do like to comment and criticize that, as well as keep people informed about the politics that's going on in the state that they may be interested in. Not everybody has cable. Daily Dope, he got rid of his TV 2 years ago. So a lot of people do get their news from cable, from the internet. And as long as YouTube doesn't ban us and these other places will let us stream, and we are on D-Live and we will stream out on multiple platforms. So as long as they'll let us to help folks get informed with local news in their town about cannabis and the laws that are being passed and voted on Tuesday. So check your ballots. Make sure you're voting for cannabis and you're voting for candidates that support cannabis, medical cannabis, not just giving lip service to the polls, because 2/3 of America wants to legalize cannabis. 95% or more of America wants medical cannabis available to everyone, and even the Republicans are on board. So, which is the toughest block. The Republican GOP in Texas is on board. Oklahoma has passed an amazing cannabis law. Politicians immediately try to screw up. So go out and vote on Tuesday. Vote by mail. Vote absentee. Early vote. It's too late for early voting.
And in California, you can, even if you're not registered, you can register up until the day of anytime and do a conditional ballot. Also in California, if you are a felon who has served their time and is off parole,
Are you looking? You weren't
can
looking
vote.
at me. Were you looking at me?
No, you're not a felon. But even if you were, that's fine. You can still vote. And if you are a felon, make sure you vote. It's super important. We need your vote. We need the green vote. I really do focus all of my votes on cannabis issues, 100%. Because really, I can't count on red or blue. I can't count on individuals. I can count on cannabis. I can count on the green.
Count on the herb, man.
Count on the herb, man.
Don't take my herb.
No.
So yes, it is a dynamic time. Cannabis 2018. It's going to be on more ballots in 2020. It's going to be an issue in 2020, especially because it's going to be aquamarine on Tuesday.
Yep.
It's going to be an aquamarine wave. It's going to be like a beautiful turquoise Hawaii wave.
It's going to be amazing.
With green and blue, and if they don't blow it, and which is completely possible, like the Rams. The Democrats are like the Rams. They get so close, and then they manage to screw it up. Back when I did look at football. But so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about it next week. We thank you all for joining us on today's show. The chat has been amazing.
Yeah,
Mother Nature was back today. We were
So
competing with Bingus tonight. He went live a little bit ago.
It's
But we
not
get a lot of
competition. There's room
not
for everyone.
competition. We have more viewers tonight than we do.
It's
So
awesome. Thanks,
it's awesome.
everybody.
A bunch of new people. So we're growing every week. Share the show. If you can find that share button. Subscribe. Like.
Thumbs up.
Follow, thumbs up, on D Live. Give us the like or however they do it over there.
Tell all your friends that don't have television
Apparently,
to come to us,
apparently no one has television.
and we'll give them all the news. And we still don't get it from the TV.
And we still don't get it from the TV, which
So
is
we're good.
amazing. But we are educating. That is our primary focus, is to educate and inform about people about cannabis in whether it's recreation or medical, because it's all medical, because when you recreate, you medicate, and that this is a social justice and a liberty issue. This is a freedom issue. This is why it crosses the political borders,
Everybody
the
wants
political
freedom.
lines. Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants cannabis.
Nobody wants to be told what to do.
Cannabis saves the world. Nobody likes to be told what to do.
True story.
True story. So we thank you all. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
And
Obi-Wan, C-Vaz, Robin Hood, Mother Nature, Bonnie Lee, Kim Wood.
Mut zum
Awesome.
Wolfsblatt.
So
RBU from Down
you.
Under.
Blaster Master.
I saw a Jingo ate my baby in here. Timbuktu's in here too.
Yeah.
Brian Arbor made it for the
Obi-Wan.
live show.
Woo-woo.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Timbuktu, we said.
Another Brian, a new grower from
We got
from
it.
Mass.
Brian Mendonca.
Mr. Sparks-a-lot was in here
Awesome.
earlier.
Yeah, we have a few misters.
A few misters. We got some misters,
Few
some misses.
misters.
We have Cannabis.
Ernest of Gaia and the Trimmers.
We have, is that who the Trimmers are?
We got the Trimmers.
Awesome,
with
you
Ernest
guys.
of Gaia.
Blockchain is going to
Happy
fix all that.
guy.
Well, the dollar may be a gone thing anyway. You're right, guys. Who knows? Maybe we're on that. Maybe we're on that leading edge. Maybe we're on. This is all going to go away. This capitalist nonsense.
Niles. My dad. Hi, Dad.
Oh, Dad's watching on Facebook. So
Yeah,
is Elisa watching.
Cool. Thank you, everyone.
Our chat on Facebook went down when we had to
I'm sorry about the
restart
chat
the stream,
thing.
but it does come back up live now, which is good.
Oh, that's nice.
Because we are having the network seemed to clear up at the end of the show, so that's kind of nice. Maybe it's less choking going on with Spectrum. But thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next week at 4:20 Pacific for Reefer Revolution Live.
Yeah.
Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at DC420LA. And we will talk about next week. We will be talking about the Emerald
Exchange.
Exchange.
In Santa Monica.
Yeah.
We're very excited about it.
We're gonna
We'll
bite
take some
the bullet
pictures and let you know how it goes.
and find out what's going on. Well, maybe we'll get an interview with the organizer.
Oh,
and
that'd be rad.
and see. We'll reach out to them and maybe we'll get some press credentials.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Are we legit? Are we a legit press organization? I don't know.
Educational. I think in this space we're legit.
In this space we're legit.
Even if we're coming from our living room.
And with more and more viewers. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next week. It's
Thank
hard. It's hard to go. But I
gotta stand up.
You gotta Chela's feet are getting numb, and I'm getting hungry. So love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Free the plant.
A lot of roll up.
Free the plant. Free the people. Vote on Tuesday. No on X in Colorado. Yes on 1 in Michigan.
Yes on B in LA.
Yes on B in LA. 2 in Utah. Amendment 2 in Missouri.
And all the cannabis politicians.
Vote cannabis.
Yep.
Cannabis 2018.
Thanks, everybody.
Free the plant, free the people. Pot for peace.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I'm trying to play the song.
Here comes the song. It's tradition. Here are the
toys.
Buy the toys music.
See you next week, everybody. We love you.
Murderers keep murdering, the churches keep a-burning, the rapists keep a-raping, and the tide ain't turning. Uncle Sam, for all your power, things get worse every hour. It seems to me your energy's unwasted, chasing my friends and me. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. The terrorists keep terrorizing, our leaders keep a-lying, the haters keep a-hating, and the planet's dying. Do what's proper, call off your dogs and your helicopters. The problems of society were not caused by my friends and me. So hey, Uncle Sam, hey there, Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone.
Stay tuned for the afterburn, political ads, and more.
How many innocent people gonna be imprisoned? We just peace and love, street pop and brotherhood freaks. A touch of Mother Nature never made nobody violent, never made nobody hate, nobody will break nobody's peace. It's never been shown to be harmful. Don't you tell me no lies with your caffeine, codeine, nicotine eyes. The cannabis ban is just recent, just since 1938 to realize it. You made a big mistake.